What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the lab. This is an early, I guess, special edition of the lab. Um, we were getting some things done here. I live directly on the coast of California. When I say the coast, I mean I'm between the bay and the ocean, and they're very close to us. We are in an evacuation area. Um, however, However, it's not supposed to do anything uh, in the immediate future. And I was just watching some of this footage. But this is not the first tsunami warning that has happened here, and we actually have uh, had tsunamis before. So it should be, that look, as soon as this stuff starts going, right now, technically, right now, it's a tsunami advisory. But I did just get an alert that said that there is an extreme threat. So, take that how you want. I really don't know exactly what to expect. But tsunamis travel a long way, and I personally, my belief is that if there is an impact here, that it won't be too dramatic, but I could be wrong. That being said, we've made plans, and we are going to do whatever they tell us to do. We'll see. We'll see. I don't, like I said, I don't know. I mean, the closer it gets, and it's supposed to be around midnight, I think, somewhere around midnight or 12:45, somewhere around there. So we'll see. I mean, I mean, 8.8 is a massive earthquake. Please hit that like button on the way in. Yes, we are in a tsunami disaster area. Oh, we have a bag packed. I have 2 generators. So we're sort of prepared, I guess. I mean, as much as you can. And Tyler, hang in there, buddy. Just do what they say. I got to tell you that it's a terrifying thing, when you don't know. I mean, they're saying 1 to 3 meters, but that is always just a guess. Who knows how big this is going to get? That's pretty much where we are as well. We can only drive to higher ground as well, and we are able to do that. No, we have time. I mean, we honestly, truly do have some time. So we'll see. I'm on the, I have a grandmother that I have to worry about, and to pack her up and take her is kind of it's an undertaking. Not that we won't do it. We absolutely will. She's not very concerned at the moment, nor am I at the moment. But we will. See, I've been through this before, and what happens? I don't know. The city officials will start going around in the next couple of hours and checking on the zones that are. What is this? Is this Hawaii? What does anybody know what time let me look here. time. Let me take a look here. We will. We absolutely will. I'm like I said, I'm not going to put us in harm's way, but I just wanted to come on and say hello. Buoy alerts will tell more. Yeah, it's one of those things where this like it's going to develop. I don't know. Has anything happened with Hawaii yet? Oh, they have hours to go. Yeah, they have hours. So, but the problem is the traffic. You got to account for the traffic. We don't have far to go to get to safe ground, which is fortunate. And probably traffic won't be a huge issue. So they're telling us that, but they are telling us that there's a serious chance. Let me just take a look here on my phone. This is one that I have not seen. Yeah, how close are you, Samantha? I'm in Washington. Keep an eye on what's going on. What's going on further up the coast. Yep, traffic supposed to hit around 11 p.m. in Cali, about 1 a.m. So, like I said, we have some time, but not a lot. I mean, if especially people in Hawaii should probably start going soon. But an 8.8 is a very extremely huge earthquake. So let me find a better. This one. So this is a live feed from Japan. Japan under tsunami alert as well. Yeah, let me see. Kylie, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. I appreciate that very much. And Laura, thank you as well. You know what? I don't know. I really don't know if people are hurt yet, but I hope not. I mean, that was a huge. It's an earthquake. All right, so it says 8.8 earthquake near Russia prompts tsunami alerts in Hawaii, Alaska, and the West Coast. A massive magnitude 8.8 earthquake struck off the coast of Russia today, sparking tsunami warnings in Alaska, Hawaii, and alerts for other areas of the West Coast. The earthquake occurred around 85 miles off the coast of Russia's Kamchatka. I don't know how to pronounce that peninsula, with a depth of nearly 12 miles, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. The agency upgraded the earthquake's reported magnitude from initial reports of 8.0 and 8.7, magnitude 6.3 and 6.9 aftershocks. were also reported in the area, according to USGS. A tsunami warning was announced for Alaska's Aleutian Islands and Hawaii. California, Oregon, and Washington are all under tsunami advisory while the threat is being evaluated. And, you know, like I said, we'll know a lot more in the coming hours, but well, thank you. Well, we should, I mean, Maui girl told us about 45 minutes ago that she was evacuating on Maui at that time. Yeah, that makes sense. The problem is with these tsunamis, like there's no coast that's actually safe when it comes to like the Hawaiian Islands, because the tsunamis they just kind of encompass the islands. They wrap around. You know, it's a kind of a nightmare. But yeah, they have upgraded the earthquake from 8.8 or from 8.7 to 8.8, which may not seem like a big deal, but when it comes to the history books, it makes a big difference. The largest earthquake I've ever been in was a 7.6, which was frightening. Absolutely frightening. Yeah, it's a massive earthquake. Yes, prayers for everyone. You guys are awesome. And we're you know, I think, and this is just I think that Hawaii will probably get hit pretty decently. Who knows? Who knows how far the tsunami will go or how to travel, what kind of damage. But there's a place that's right above me called Crescent City. And Crescent City is also a coastal town. I mean, we live right, when I'm telling you that we live on the coast, we're right on the coast, man, like just minutes. And they have this very like sort of bottleneck where into their bay where tsunamis have caused major damage before, because what happens is when it hits that bottleneck, it all gathers up and then shoots through at the same time. And the last tsunami that we had was, I think, 2012. And I mean, the docks and the coast was hammered. No, I don't believe anybody got hurt, but we'll that, you know, that I saw all those boats get turned over, and Muscles, thank you so much. It's very kind of you. Welcome new members. Welcome new members. What I'm most concerned, and Lisa, good to see you. What I'm most concerned about is that there's been a lot of earthquake activity in what is considered the Ring of Fire. Now, that's not just a Johnny Cash song, although it is a Johnny Cash song. But this just seems to be a lot of activity, you know, and they kind of fire off around all at the same time, which is not a great thing either. So the U.S. territories of Guam and American Samoa are also under tsunami advisory, according to USGS. The first tsunami wave is forecast to reach Hawaii just after 7:15 p.m. local time. What happened? What did they do? Cut the feed? Unreal. Lovely. Place is this? Is this Japan again? So Hero, Japan. And what makes it even worse is that there's just people online that just make everything. Um, yeah, I think it can. I don't know. I don't know about the size. Hold on a second. So we had a tsunami in 2011, which was a very eerie experience. I will tell you that right now. Um, and let me show you here. See. This was the last. Oh my god. This is a photo from the last time. 2011. Yep. And it sent these like repeated. It was like a constant wave of uh water. It just didn't stop for the longest time. And Maui girl, you stay safe as well. I heard that you're evacuating. So I mean, so this could absolutely happen again. What the hell is that? I don't even know what page. Oh, there it is. Um, these articles are horrible. Here's another photo. A lot of it, a lot of what is happening though, will really obviously affect the immediate coast, the harbor, where everybody parks their boats. The Ring of Fire is a it's the ring from it's like the coast, the west coast, up and through the coast of Alaska, back around by Japan and Russia. So it's like it's a circle, but it's a very active earthquake area. And that's what we deal with. That's when we call it the Ring of Fire. I'll show you here. It is huge. So, so annoying. Ring fire. Which is weird because it's kind of like a horseshoe, but let me show you here. So this, if you see the red here, it's all of this right here is like an earthquake area. Like there's a lot of faults and stuff that go on through here. So when earthquakes are very prominent in these parts, and so also that's what happens when there could be just an earthquake in the middle of the ocean, and here we go. You got. Yep, sure am. Here, I'll show you where I am. Let me show you. I don't know who this goober is, but I'll show you.
All right. Breaking news now, a tsunami advisory. That is,
which is different than a warning, obviously.
A step up from a watch. So this is now the time to take.
Now it's an advisory. So from a watch to an advisory to a warning. So the later we get, the more warning
initial action again
we get, or downgraded, upgraded. But if you look right here, this is me. Right? The friggin' right in the old pocket.
And we are continuing to really monitor, but it is likely we are going to see a impactful, let's put it that way, tsunami wave that is now likely to occur a little bit earlier based on some of the initial reports coming in from other observation centers, mainly between Hawaii and Japan. So I would say somewhere between 9 and 10 o'clock. I'll continue to update this timing as I get information from the Tsunami Warning Center. And Erica, back to you.
So, like I said, that's our local weather. Yeah, ours will too. I mean, obviously all eyes are going to obviously be on Hawaii shortly. Let me look here. Okay, so severe weather alert, tsunami advisory. So it says the severity is moderate. I need about 20 minutes to get to where I need to be from where I am. My elevation, I mean, sea level. I mean, that's my elevation. There is no elevation. We're on the coast. There's not much elevation. And So it is 7:42 where I am. I'm not panicking, but 2011 was the last one I remember. And I will tell you that we had the state of the art tsunami sirens, whatever state of the art means. That's what they told us. It's just a loud siren that makes everything worse. Like it freaks everybody out even worse. So and they just go and there's tsunami signs and so like I said, I'm acutely aware. We've had to evacuate before. Yes. Well, yeah, yes, and I don't know. Well, depending. I mean, depending on how serious it gets, but yes, the idea is that if this becomes worse or the threat becomes bigger, then we still have some time to move. Luckily, I don't live in an area that is hard to get out of town. The traffic moves pretty well, but we'll see. We'll see. But like I said, I have a bag packed just in case. And but like I said, we are right on the we are right there here. Show you. I'm sorry. What was the question? I didn't see it. Is it located? Yeah, the earthquake was located in Russia. Yes, or just off the coast of Russia. There we go. Yeah, so I mean, I whatever this is where we live. Can I zoom in on that anymore? So what's the green? Green is safe area. All right, so we're not in a safe area. So that's nice. I would agree, Will. I would agree. Will says the last place you want to be in a major weather event is stuck in traffic. I will not be stuck in traffic, I promise. She landed in Houston. Who? Freshwater. Interesting. Nah, this is interesting though. Looks like they've redone the areas. It looks like I'm right outside the danger zone. I don't know. Who knows? But this is where I live. Like in this area. So we're right on the edge. Unfortunately. Right on the edge, baby. We're living large on the edge. But there, like I said, we've got plans already made if necessary. We should be okay. I didn't give my address. I didn't give my address. They have bears and Kelsey says you're giving us all anxiety. I'm sorry about that. I honestly, I mean, I don't know what else do you want me to do? Yeah, it was upgraded. It was upgraded to an 8.8. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Hold on. Let's take a look here.
Traffic in Waikiki, Ala Moana, parts of urban Honolulu, out on the leeward coast at Ko'olina. We also have shots of the driving conditions along Oahu's windward coast right now. This is the Kaneohe Kahalu'u area. As you have traffic in, this is also an area too where, much like the leeward coast, a lot of high degree of concern among residents here to make sure that you have an evacuation plan and you have something in place, you have somewhere in place in times like this.
Yeah, especially this area, you're going to see a traffic backup nonetheless, because all these homes that you're looking at, they're very close to the ocean. No doubt they are in an evacuation area. Also, some people had to be told to evacuate. This is what it was like when HPD has been going out along the coastlines telling people what they need to do.
Evacuate all the Moana Beach Park. We are locking and securing the gates in 10 minutes. We are locking and securing the gates in 10 minutes. If you fail to comply, you are subject to arrest. The tsunami wave is expected to be hitting soon. Once again, you need to move to higher ground.
Probably not.
You need to move to higher ground.
We'll have to think about it tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely clearing out Ala Moana Park, a very popular place for, at this time of day, there would be a lot of people swimming, a lot of people jogging or walking. And so there are, again, Ala Moana Beach Park is closed. Don't go there. And as police have been saying, you're subject to arrest. Also, Kekaha, Kauai, we have video from that area of the traffic backup along the highway. So there are a lot of people trying to move away, to move to safety, moving to higher ground, or at least maybe get home if they're one of those workers or people who are at work, trying to get to their family or their loved ones to make sure that they're prepared as far as tsunami preparations go.
And a lot of these shots that we're seeing of people driving out are mainly in the coastal areas, right? So yeah. Ko'olina, Kekaha, Kaneohe, and Kahalu'u. So, you just have residents in the area taking action, and there is lead time on this. The first wave is expected at 7:10. The next siren is expected at 5:10. So that's going to be in the 5 o'clock hour at 5:10, and there will be another one at 6:10. We have some video of the moment the sirens came down on Maui earlier this afternoon. And again, this is not a live siren. This is from earlier this afternoon.
So that's one of the first indications, at least on Maui, as the siren sounded. We did have the first siren sound at about 3:25, a little earlier. But again, sirens are going to be sounding hourly, 4:10, 5:10, 6:10, as we look at Kahului with Iao Valley off in the distance. We also have some traffic backups in Waikiki. A lot of people trying to get out of that low-lying area. Alawai Boulevard backed up as well. We have some video of that, and you've got 3-4 lanes of traffic backed up considerably, some viewer video. So just, again, use patience, because there are just a few roadways.
All right, so this is some new video just into our newsroom. This is from an area in Russia, and this is our first look at this tsunami wave, where we can see, this is called the, I'm sorry if I mispronounce this, the Severokursk area. And this is in Russia's Kuril Islands. And you can see the tsunami wave coming, and you can see it doing damage. And that's our first look at that as this repeats, Marla.
Yeah. Yeah, and on a closer look, you'll see the buildings being swept away. So these images are out there. There's a watch for the entire West Coast coastline. Here's what I'm talking about here when you're seeing the buildings being swept away. This is one of the largest top 10 earthquakes to strike.
Since 1990, since 1900. One of the top 10 earthquakes in the world since 1900.
That's terrible.
0.7 magnitude quake. And you think about, earthquakes as you get up in magnitude, they're not all the same. I mean, that is a enormous earthquake, which we think happened out in the middle of the ocean. Because if something like that would have happened right under land, the devastation would be, unbelievable. But as we saw with Japan, when we had that big quake there in Fukushima, the tsunami was more deadly than the quake itself. And we know the power of water in terms of a tsunami wave is about as powerful a force as there is on Earth. And it can move buildings, it can move cars, and it can kill a lot of people quickly. Hopefully we don't have that situation here, but it is concerning when we start hearing about these warnings and watches.
This is a live look at a location in Japan. So you're seeing the activity in the ocean, of course. As it relates to the concern here, Hawaii has just been upgraded from a tsunami warning to a tsunami watch. If it strikes there, it will be 7 o'clock, 7:15 their time, local time, Hawaii time, which is not until the 10 o'clock hour for us. We're hearing that would translate. Here's a live look at Hawaii and Waikiki Beach. We're hearing that the worst of it, if it were to happen along the West Coast, would happen in the 1 a.m. hour Wednesday.
Right. So again, Hawaii now a warning up from a watch, which means that they're more concerned about it and that they are going to be having literal alarm bells, which they have set up for potential tsunami.
We have, like I said, we have a bag packed.
To basically prepare to get to safety. What should people be doing in the next 90 minutes?
All right. I believe our connection.
Oh, great. Hey, that's awesome. Hey, what should we do to survive in the next 30 minutes? Okay, our connection's down.
Dropped off. Great question. We'll get to it and we'll relay it. Okay, we have Mayor.
Wonderful.
Back online. So what was that?
Yeah, I think, Mayor, I don't know if you heard the question, but we've got about
Hey, what should we do to stay safe? Give us the. Oh no.
90 minutes at most, I will say, to be safe. What should people?
Are replaceable. Right now, if you don't need to be on the road, you should absolutely not be on the road. You should be seeking higher ground, and people need to stay calm. Right now, there's a sense of almost panic. The worst thing that could happen is causing an accident when people are trying to evacuate. So please, if you're in a safe place,
like I
stay
said,
there.
it will not. It
To
won't take me more than an hour to get out of town. We'll know more in the next. Obviously, what happens in Hawaii is what everybody's waiting to have. Like, we're waiting for that. Unfortunately, sorry, Hawaii, and God hope that everybody's safe and that it's just you know, a minuscule amount of water, if any at all.
flowers are going to come real quick. We're trying to evacuate people that are in dangerous areas. And so what people should be doing is staying safe. If they're already safe, try to stay there. And stay tuned. Our best information for Kauai residents is kauai.gov/KEMA, or our county Facebook page is being updated regularly.
And I think, Mayor, also because there are a lot of coastal areas, because Mount Waialeale basically keeps people
Trust
from
me,
going in
I will.
or building in. The thing to remember as well, and I'm also talking about maybe visitors to the island, is that most of the roadways along the coastline are 2 lanes. And so you're going to have to practice a lot of patience. Is there anything that, say, law enforcement or others are trying to do as far as guiding traffic, or at least trying to bring some control to the situation?
And luckily, we have 2 ways to go.
Yes, they're all there right now. Hanalei is a very tricky spot with the number of 1-lane bridges. And also, people should not be inundating our 911 line if they don't have an emergency. If they're looking for information, please go to our website. Right now, our dispatch is being inundated, quite frankly, with non-emergency calls. They can get all the information they need from our website or our Facebook page. But yes, we are very challenged by the number of lanes on our highways, and that's why we're urging people that if you are safe and don't need to be on the road, do not be on the road.
We saw too that there are a number of shelters that have been opened up. What can you tell us about the resources available at these sites?
Well, right now, the number one thing and the number one resource is that we have these shelters open. As we proceed and see the impact of this tsunami, we will be able to get more resources out there. But the number one thing is we have a number of shelters that are open.
Bed anyway.
People can take a look.
He's got this little bed that he likes to sleep. We'll get him a new bed.
Look at our website to see
Macho sleeps on the bed because he's
specifically what shelters are open, and we will open more if needed, and we will close some if that is necessary too. But like I said, I think the number one thing people should do is not actually look for a shelter, but just get to higher ground. They can figure out the shelter after we get through this.
And not only just looking for a shelter, but just to make sure, again, for people like in Hanalei, the thing that I've been telling people is that not to do is to try and be like a looky-loo. You know, I want to go see the tsunami. That's something that you really shouldn't do.
A looky-loo. Don't be a looky-loo.
Oh, you don't want to be that person.
Definitely. All right.
Kauai County Mayor Derek Kawakami, thank you very much for joining us, as this is a statewide response. Stay safe out there. Kauai County and the counties across the state have.
I was actually thinking about
covered right
setting up like an extra camera for Otis when he sleeps in his bed.
We are going to take a quick break right now.
That will never happen.
I'm just going to reset, and then we'll be joining you shortly.
Absolutely not. Canadian Mama Bear says, Josh, tomorrow we will hear. You won't believe what happened. The water was coming in the car. The dogs were freaking out. My grandma was saying we should have left earlier. Now, she doesn't want to leave at all. That's another issue. But she won't have a choice. I'll put her on the roof if I have to. No, I really do. I really want to put a camera on his bed because he's so fascinating what he does. I'll put Grandma on the roof. I swear to God, I will. Me and Pat, both of us. Look, the last earthquake that we had was, I believe, in December. It was a really big earthquake, and then I believe that there was a tsunami warning issued. Nothing ever ended up happening. Thank God. But when the earthquake happened, I actually ran into where my grandmother was sleeping and told her that we need to get to a safe place. And then she just waved me off. She didn't say anything. She was laying down. She went, what the hell? So she doesn't care.
All right, so this is some new video just into our newsroom. This.
Where is this? Yeah, no, she didn't care at all, unfortunately. Hold on, my phone's getting destroyed.
先行して、FC さん先行して、43枚、波停波します。現在 C6 出している方停波します。
These big ass nuts. Thank you for your super chat. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, like I said, we're not gonna wait until the last minute. This isn't the last minute. Like I said, Hawaii unfortunately has to go first. We'll know a lot more when it happened, when the waves are supposed to hit in Hawaii. We have a little bit of time after that.
川遡上してる感じもないですよね、水は今ね。
So depending on that, we will make our decision from there. Yeah, which is still what, 2 hours away for them, unfortunately.
何言ってるか全然わかんない。呼びかけてどうすんの？ A 取っとけばいいのね。
No,
了解しました。
couple hours.
これ今ちょっと水上がってきてる感じですよね。
So it's a couple hours there, and then after that, we are.
風もあるからちょっとわかんないですね。下風も強いってことですよね。これが今、大洗の港あたり
Let's see if there's any updates. So.
はい、現在こちら大洗上空になっております。地上付近のですね、風の強さもあるのですが、上空から見るとかなり波打ち際、波が白くなっているのが上空からでも分かります。こちら今ですね、河口付近なんですが、ちょっとこちら上空からの映像分かりますでしょうか。波紋というかですね、水が遡上しているとは言い切れないんですが、このような今、状態にはなっております。特に大きな、波の遡上とは確認できませんが、
Give me a second here. Son of a gun. You bring up Tsunami. It's just unbelievable, man. Like it really is. Do, do, do. Does anybody know if I would do?
Towards Malka. And this is going to coincide with high tide peaking at 7:03. High tide coming in at 1.52 feet. High tide and tsunami coming in at the same time.
Oh, that's lovely.
Strong currents and rip currents is going to be a big concern for us with that coastal flooding. Well, it's really hard to say how big the tsunami is going to be, but the initial set of energy arriving at 7:10 in Honolulu this evening could easily be about 0.1 to 0.3, and then gradually getting larger and larger as the night progresses. According to some of the forecast readings, maybe 1 to 2 meters, which is quite significant, more than 3 feet a possibility. Unpredictable, strong currents. That's why you need to stay out of the water. We've been seeing very rough shorelines when we have tsunamis, and we've seen that in history. So something that we'll be watching very carefully are all of these elements coming together. Back to you guys.
Stay frosty.
We'll have crews stationed throughout the island, including our Jonathan Masaki, who's headed to the Pacific Tsunami Warning
Their
Center,
microphones aren't working.
and even our own Daryl Huff, who apparently is stuck in traffic as we monitor the different situations across the roadways. We're getting reports of a lot of traffic jams across town.
This is a statewide response right now. So we've been showing throughout the afternoon is traffic jams
Thank you,
throughout
Jess. Love your
different
channel,
parts,
Josh.
throughout
Prayer
different counties
my friend's
across
channel.
Oahu. Many
Absolutely.
employees leaving their places of business. Governor Josh Green instructed state employees to leave after the warning came down just before 3 p.m. Hawaii time. And this is what we're talking about here. Many hitting the roads. This is from earlier this afternoon, just giving you a picture and giving you a sense right now as residents respond to this warning, which is unfolding in real time. First anticipated wave is at 7:10 this evening. There will be a warning siren going off any moment now. We were told that it will be happening at 5:10. So if that audio does kick in, forgive us here if you're hearing it over the air, or it could be popping up on our phones as well. But the expectation is that another siren will be going off at 5:10, after which we'll be hearing from Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi and city officials here in Honolulu about the response.
Yeah, so of course, you are seeing these images right now of the roads that are just jammed.
Okay, we're working out to get Stephanie's microphone sorted out right now as we're mapping out this response statewide. Traffic jams and traffic backups happening throughout Oahu right now. We are seeing Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi getting ready for a podium, and another monitor we are monitoring in the newsroom here as we give you a look at the backup on windward Oahu. We also saw a similar sight on the leeward coast. Kole Kole Pass is opened up for emergency access at this point. Let's also give you video from Hilo right now. Hawaii County residents leaving the area, and you could be hearing the sirens over air right now as the second emergency siren warning of the tsunami warning is going off right now.
So the message that we've been hearing from emergency officials is to prepare, to have a plan in.
Let me change this here. Who's Two Pineapples? I've never heard of them before.
Place. Do not panic at this time as we take a look at the situation here in Kaka'ako. Don't wait until the last minute to leave. But if you and your family do have a plan, meet at a meeting place. Make sure that you have the necessary materials, the medication. Make sure you unplug those sensitive electronics. Also, if you live on a boat or if you have a boat, make sure to tie up that boat properly and take it out to sea. So we again are hearing these sirens sounding off on cell phones across the state. Of course, Hawaii under a tsunami warning after a powerful magnitude 8.7 earthquake off the east coast of Kamchatka, Russia.
Let's go to Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi at the city's Emergency Operations Center with an update.
Well, good evening. Well, if you're watching us right now, you know you're fully aware that the state is under a tsunami alert. That said, what you're doing is the right thing to do. We ask you to pay attention, stay with your media for updates. Here in Oahu tonight, I'm surrounded by a bunch of people who are going to give you some really pertinent information. But I ask that you stay calm. If you're in a low-lying area, please get to high ground. You'll hear about our emergency centers that are open, and let Randy Collins, our Emergency Management Services Director, tell you that. But we need people to cooperate with each other. Right now, the roads are full, people trying to move. We ask you to stay calm, cooperate, and get to high ground if at all possible where you are. We promise to give you complete updates. Right now, the expected time of anything that might happen here in Oahu is going to be somewhere around 7:15. We're expecting it to be at Kauai around 7:10. We'll know. We've been told by Civil Defense that when it passes the island of Midway, we'll get a good read as to what we can expect. And that's not scheduled to happen for a while yet, but we promise to keep you updated. Please stay close to your media.
So there's a Midway island that's gonna get hit before Hawaii, which will give a lot more insight into what's going to happen.
Good evening. As the mayor indicated, our number one priority is to get people to safety. So get out of the tsunami zones, out of the tsunami inundation areas. Those are clearly marked by the tsunami zone signs that you've seen around, that we worked hard in instilling over the past year to make sure that you're aware of where those tsunami zones are. You can also find out more information at www.honolulu.gov/DEM. There you will be able to find all the various types of resources about these tsunami warnings. As the mayor mentioned, our number one priority is life safety. And so right now it's an easy thing. Get away from the beaches, get inland, and get upward. So that's our message right now. I would also tell you that we are working hard with all of the city agents.
Canadian Mama Bear. Wonder where Josh's common sense approach is tonight. I'm telling you, nobody's leaving yet. Nobody's moving yet. But people are absolutely packing bags up just in case. Like I said, I'm right on that fringe there, man. And if there's any indication that there could be even, we will leave. Like I said, we have two different places that we can go. The traffic isn't going to be, the traffic's not going to be that big of an issue because we'll be gone at least an hour and a half before anything like that happens. It's flat. I mean, well, like I said, I'm right on the, let me see here. Where's Midway? Where are we at here? Midway. Not the Battle of Midway. So this is Maui Beach Jam. God, it looks so nice there. Yes, we have, like I said, we have a plan. We're ready to go. I don't think, what is this? Destination. So this guy is, I don't know. Where do I find a live of Midway? Oh, look, I'm not doubting that there's a tsunami on the way. No, there's no doubt about that there's a water surge. And the reason because the last time they gave us a tsunami warning, usually I believe it's it's like a slip earthquake that happens where the water it's either a slip or a vertical. I can't remember. One of them displaces an insane amount of water. So that's what you have to worry about. KTLA. KTLA. What is it? KTLA 5? Al Jazeera Live? What's the best one? I really don't know. Got it. Yeah. No, I have a couple of bricks. Never. I'll never. What's a great idea? I don't know. I don't think my grandma would she'd have to hold the camera because I'd be driving. I don't think that she would like that. Looks like live. Does anybody know when it's supposed to hit Japan? Midway at Hawaii. Midway at Hawaii. No, Chris doesn't live in Hawaii. He's safe, I believe. Thank you, Rod. Appreciate it. Oh, are you on the coast? Yeah, they haven't.
あとなんか目視する範囲でなんか変化があるようなとこありそうですかね。あ、沖合の漁船戻ってきてるかな。
Check the US.
はい。
This isn't as fun as the
なるほど。あれ、火力発電所的には名前は何
Santa tracker that we do on Christmas Eve.
そうですよね。ちょっと待ってください。あ、でもこっちはあれですね。その手前に
Santa tracker is the best.
波はあんまり影響はなさそうですね。うん。まあ 一応ちょっとまだ、調子大洗になってるんで、
in its most serious. And if they happen to be watching, we don't have these events very often, but when we do, they're
Guam, I believe, is under the same. They have hit Japan. All right, well, let's go see. Why aren't they covering it? All right, here we go. Hokkaido, Japan. Well, this is Japan, where the tsunami waves are expected to be.
はい、どうぞ。
So you got a 3-foot surge, which
あ、大丈夫です。
isn't.
ここ入り口のところにもなんか防波堤じゃないけどなんかあって、潮が今干潮の時間かちょっと満潮かわかんないですけど、その可能性もありますよね。
So you got about a 3-foot surge. What is that? First waves hit, let's see, this is from The Guardian. First waves hit Japan as U.S. widens tsunami warning after magnitude 8.8 earthquake off Russia. The first waves from the tsunami have hit the coastline of Hokkaido, I don't know, in northern Japan. Officials in multiple countries, so they said the 30 centimeters. I don't know. I'm not a centimeter guy, so I don't know what that is. But well, typically, so that's what happens a lot of the time. Now, look, this is a massive earthquake that happened. So you have to take this extremely serious. And we have, and I think people are. But who knows? There are people that head to the beach. They think that, oh, let's go catch a wave. And it's just like, we're not allowed to play. Let me see here. Hokkaido. Hokkaido. All right. I don't know. Will, I wish I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't know. I'm not sure. That's a good thing, Noel. I'm happy that's very good. Hokkaido. Yeah, yep, absolutely. So that's fun. The National Weather Service has issued a tsunami warning. A series of powerful, I just got this on my phone. A series of powerful waves and strong currents may impact the coast near you. You are in danger. Get away from coastal waters. Move to higher ground or inland now. Keep away from the coast until locals say it's safe to return. Wonderful. What a nightmare. The power plant? Yeah, that I mean that those alerts are just. Oh my god! Hold on. Yeah.
でもね、こう来るとね、多分白波がわーっと来るようなのが見えるかなと思ったんだけど、結構落ち着きましたね、今のところね。沖合に特になんか変な動きがないですもんね。あ、そうですか。気
Sorry
をつけて
about
くだ
that.
さい。ちょっと戻りますかね、先ほどのあの辺りにね。場所的にはちょっとこの辺説明がしにくいですね。海沿いの方回ってもし行けるんであればそれでお願いします。無理しないでくださいね。はい。はい。あ、はい。
Come here.
はい。東海村か、そうですね。
Okay. I believe this is a live feed. Who's this?
In central Milwaukee.
Are people using the pass now? Can you give us a
Yeah. My grandmother, well, I mean, she's in she's in her chair right now. But we'll be okay. Where is so what's it, is it going? Is what is happening in Japan right now? Okay, so this is from the BBC. Evacuations in Japan and U.S. As major earthquake off Russia triggers widespread tsunami warnings. a tsunami is not expected to be catastrophic in Americas. Scientologist Dr. Lucy Jones says tsunami could damage harbors and waterfront properties in Hawaii and possibly in California, but it's not expected to cause a catastrophic loss of life anywhere. Heard that before. Tsunami waves are predicted to be 3 to 10 feet, while in Santa Barbara, the wave height is predicted to be 1 to 2 feet. For comparison, in Japan, some wave heights were 42 feet, Jones said. It's not a wave, she said. That's how. What the hell is going on? That's how much sea levels rise temporarily. Crescent City in Northern California is expected to get 6-foot waves in its harbor. And that's what I told you about earlier. We're going to have to mute you. I don't know what you're saying. I wish I did, though. The predicted wave height for Santa Barbara is higher than that for Washington or British Columbia in Canada, even though California is further away because of the pattern forming in the ocean, she said. Dr. Jones said she'd been speaking with a camp counselor at Catalina Island off the coast of Los Angeles, where waves are expected to hit around 1 local time. They're not evacuating, she said, adding that even though the threat was minimal, they might decide to move campers away. Look, my kids are already at a higher ground. I believe that my sister will be getting my grandmother, because it sounds like we're going to have to at least leave for a while. I don't know. So, I'm nothing. We'll be all right. No. It's around 12:45, 1 in the morning. They're playing. The Giants are still playing, if that tells you anything. Mostly because they suck. What's the score of that game, by the way? 1-1, top of the 8th. Like they're gonna play this out. Well, I think that people have this idea that a tsunami, like the one that happened in Fukushima, Fukushima, those were 40 something foot waves. I mean, that was a crazy tsunami. It's not supposed to be anything like that. It's mostly water surges. That's what it mostly is. So it's not my first rodeo. Is this one? All right. Yeah, I saw this. Are there are there really people out there that think that I'm not paying attention to what's going on? I'm extremely aware. I know where to go. I know when to leave. This isn't my first tsunami warning. It's not my first time getting out of town during a tsunami warning. I've done it. This is probably my third time, maybe fourth. I don't know. It happens here. I do not expect it to be a catastrophic thing, although, anything can happen. But I know what I'm doing. I've lived on the coast a long time, and I know what to do. Promise. I'm just not. I am taking this extremely serious. I promise you that I am. There's no doubt about it. I wouldn't be here talking to you guys if I thought that I was in danger, and if I didn't think I would be gone already. But luckily, with tsunamis, you have some warning, and it's not going to be that difficult to get out of town if I need to do that. You legitimately just have to get about 75 feet above sea level. No, I'm right on the edge. I'm right on the corner of it. But, like I said, I could drive, 10 minutes north, and there's a place called Neeland that I'd go to. There's a place called Humboldt Hill. So we would be able to be fine. I no question. I've done this before. I really have. What's up, Atticor? Good to see you. We've been dealing with tsunami warnings and tsunamis for a long time. if you live on the coast, it's just how it is. I mean, and they, they're constantly doing warnings and, hey, where do this is where you need to go. If I just showed you guys earlier, and I'll show you again. Let me see here. So let me show you this again. I'll show you this one more time. All right. I'm on the edge right here. Shit. So this is downtown where I'm at. I'm just right outside of that little yellow spot. Just right outside there. And no, I'm not. I'm not inland at all. So I got the bay and then the ocean. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on. However, yeah, we're in the I guess the 50-50 range, but I will absolutely leave. I mean, I have no problem doing that. Done it before, I'll do it again. Promise you. Our school made us practice earthquake drills like climbing under a school desk and going to the fallout shelter for the Cold War. Remember when they used to make you jump out of the back of the bus? I always found that interesting. C-Star says, I'm just north of you across the border, Josh. Stay safe, please, everybody. La, la. And so it's something that's been researched many a time, talked about many times. I got a bag packed. My sister's going to come get my grandmother. And I will take care of the dogs. So where is this? Is this still Japan? Yeah, I have water. I put water in my trunk. I have water in my trunk. The dog's medicine. We're good to go. I promise you. Yeah, look. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yep. Everybody else stay safe too. It's going to be fine. I got the water. let's see. Hi, my friend just messaged me. Right now, they're expecting to be 10 foot. She will drive 5 miles up the mountain as of now. Still Japan, yeah. Yeah, he's still got his antibiotics for his ear. Good old Odie Pie. Yeah, I don't know. It's hopefully that's what's happening. Let me see what the update is here. It will be a long night. Oh, that's fun. U.S. coast braces for a long night. It will be a long night along the entire west coast of the U.S. as we brace for the impact of what could be a powerful tsunami, although it is unlikely to be catastrophic. Beautiful. California, Oregon, and Washington are subject to lower grade advisories, which warns of strong currents and dangerous waves. Tsunamis generally hit over a period of hours, so the full extent of any damage may not be known until the early hours of Wednesday local time. At this stage, it is not certain that the West Coast, western states will be affected, but we should get a good idea over the next 3 hours when the first strong waves could hit. I got a couple of them. I got 2 puffers. Thank you, Gwen. That's very kind of you. Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it'll be a long night, and the sirens will go off, and it'll be like, yeah, because I mean, I showed you that. Let me see. Let me check. I'm gonna call and check how the traffic is. All right, guys, hold on. All right, Peyton, are you there? Can you hear me? Hold on. Hold on. Let me call you back. Why doesn't not want to connect to my? Hold on. It's pissing me off. All right. Are you there? Are you there? All right. So you just headed out of town, correct?
Just headed out of town on the highway.
Okay. What's traffic like?
Traffic's looking fine.
Heavy, moderate, light? Not a lot.
I'd say about moderate.
Moderate. So you could easily get out of town quickly.
Yeah. You need to bounce. Now's the time.
Now's the time.
If you wanted to bounce.
Well, I mean, there's still time.
Yeah, but this would be like the ideal traffic. It's moderate. Maybe it might be a little more light than moderate.
Yeah. Well, I would expect it to be that way for the next, I don't know, few hours, probably. Okay. But now is not the time to get out if you need to get out. There's still time to get out.
No, I'm just saying that this is the type
You just like the traffic right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I need to leave in 2 hours, I should be fine.
You need to leave in 2 hours. That should be all right. Because traffic's light.
Very good. All right. Cool, man. All right. Get to higher ground. Is your brother's there too, right? He'll be up on the hill too.
Yep.
All right, good deal, man. Talk to you soon. All right, bye. Traffic's light. We can get out of town. We're good. So that was Peyton. Like I said, keeping an eye on the whole situation. Right, Otis? Yeah, there's nothing going to happen for a little bit of time if something happens. Pink Peony. I'm on the Central Coast. I have not received a reverse 911 call as of yet. Well, we just got alerts to our phones, and anyway, I don't know. So we're an hour 15 away from like the first waves in Hawaii. Is anybody watching a better feed than this? Because I mean, if this is Japan, I mean, it doesn't look horrible right now. Thank God. All right, give me a second. I gotta go to the bathroom. Yeah, of course. I'll be right back. I think we're in the safe. We're in the safe. We're in the safe zone. The police went up to the building. We're gonna lose again. Stay out here with grandma. All right. Who has a good feed? I appreciate that. Otis, come on, dude. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Get in here. Come on. Come on. Come on. Get in here. All right, whatever, dude. I'm serious about it. Anything. Let me see. I mean, it just doesn't seem like there's. I mean, all of these are the same. They seem to be fine. They're annoying as ever. Everybody's showing the same thing. I mean, there's just nothing. There's nothing happening at this present moment. That's exactly correct, C-Star. I think that the movies depict a whole different thing than what's happening. It's a surge of water, not a wall. Yeah, Japan is seeing the surges right now, but they're not that big. The surges aren't very big. I think there's just still how much time is left until it's supposed to. Is he really? Is JLR really? I'll stream him. I don't care. Stop, Otis. I don't even know if he's live anymore, is he? Yeah, he's playing the same stuff. Everybody's playing the same stuff. Last time I did anything like this, I was off by like 12 hours. I was waiting for a hurricane to hit. Crescent City the harbor will get slammed. I told you. It's the same thing. Everybody's playing the same feed that I'm playing. It's like 10. It's like the same channel. Everybody's playing the same thing. Look, if this is the extent of the tsunami or everywhere, I think that we would consider ourselves blessed. That would be a fantastic thing. And hopefully Hawaii sees similar results, if not lesser. But let's go to the Hawaii. Here, we'll play this for now.
Tremendous job tracking the very latest updates. Let's send it over to Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Robbins with the very latest. Jen.
Thank you so much, Mark and Steph. A lot of important information right at your fingertips. And you can also get that at hawaiiNewsNow.com. And we saw the tsunami warning like we're talking about after 1:30. Now we're approaching that window of time, an hour left. It was anywhere from 5 to 6 hours to get here. Now it is 6:10, expected to come our way at 7:10. So within the hour, magnitude 8.8. And you can see a lot of energy. The caliber of earthquakes, significant. Falling under that 8 to 9 magnitude. Great when you take a look at the severe damage, loss of life. This happens anywhere from about 1 to 10 years. So we are seeing a lot of energy that's happening over the Pacific Ocean, along that fault line, a lot of shaking, as you know. The Earth's plates rub together, causing an underwater earthquake. And we saw the depth that came through, very high in depth. I'm sure you're getting the warnings right now. The earthquake causes a vertical push of seawater that causes the tsunami waves. And with that, as the waves spread into shallow waters, it grows in height. And we're seeing these travel thousands and thousands of miles across the Pacific Ocean. It could travel so fast. If you could think about from point A to point B when you're flying in an airplane, you could see that it takes you so long to travel. Well, these are traveling at 500 miles per hour over the Pacific Ocean, over open waters, and then it gets here within that 6 hour window. So taking a look look at history, really interesting when we dive into the tsunami history and their relationship with Hawaii. Hawaii has endured over 160 tsunamis since 1812. Usually the origin that has really impacted us has been Alaska, Chile, Japan, and Russia. It can cause huge surge of energy to travel across the ocean, as you know. And during the past, the most affected area, let's take a closer look. You can see Hilo gets hit the hardest, and the hardest years were 1946, 1960, and 2011. It's known as the hotspot of tsunamis due to the bay shape. And usually when the wave interacts with the bay shape and how shallow it is, it causes bigger waves to come their way over in Hilo. So very interesting with the dynamics of the topography, the depth of the bay, and the bay shape itself. Kona has suffered damage in 1975 and 2011. And as far as the rest of us, Kauai and Oahu's north and east shores can see some run up depending on the wave direction, along with Maui County. And this is key on the wave direction. What kind of wave will be coming our way? There's a lot of unknowns as it's traveling over open waters and that far of a distance. But history shows the magnitude of depth between 8 and 9. You can see in 1960, one of the strongest earthquakes on record, it arrived 15 hours.
I will probably stay until the first.
Of damage there, and we even faced deaths in 1960.
And
in 2010,
I'll probably
magnitude 8.8 really highly depends on that direction. It was only 3 feet. So even though it was a high magnitude earthquake, it was only 3 feet in that rise. In 2011, the Japan earthquake, 9.1 in magnitude, 6 to 7 feet. Lots of property damage, as you know, and that one was one for the history books. Taking a closer look at Russia coast, we were forecasting 3 to 4, and observations jumped to 10 to 13 feet, so on target of that. Japan, up to 3 meters is in the forecast, but so far, the readings observed was only 1.3. That has been confirmed there. Hawaii expected a little more than, or a little less than an hour from now after 7 o'clock. From 1 to 3 meters, about 3 to 10 feet, highly depends on the wave direction and how it travels over the open waters. Over in Guam, about the same, 1 to 3 feet, falling anywhere from 3 to 10 feet. So none confirmed yet. We're just waiting on that. We're closing in on that last hour before it comes our way. And I just want to point that the initial surge of energy could be much smaller, maybe about 0.1 to 0.3 meters after 10 o'clock. But once we jump up into that 8 o'clock hour, that's when we could see that big jump and rise as all of that energy catches up and comes to the islands. And this is going to be wraparound energy across the entire island chain that we're seeing, but starting at 7:10 over Honolulu this evening. And it's important to note, even though some areas may not see a whole lot of run-up or coastal flooding, it is going to be very unpredictable with the strong currents. And this has been a concern with a lot of our tsunamis in the past, strong rip currents and the strong currents that will come. So that's why it's important to leave the beaches, not be near waters, not watch from the shorelines, to be at higher grounds, because there's just too much that's unpredictable in all of this. So tsunami warning is up and running, and that is going to be closing in on that hour as we approach 7:10. Market Steph?
That's right, Jen. Thank you so much. And we want to go now live. This is a live look at Hanalei Bay on the Garden Isle. And this is where the first tsunami waves will arrive at around 7:10 this evening.
Yeah, that is the first site of expected activity. We are now less than an hour away after the quake happened around 1:30 our time this afternoon. We are anticipating an update from state and county emergency officials at any moment now. When that happens, we'll be going out to it live, but the first wave is expected to arrive. 7:10, Hanalei is that first location where we could be seeing any type of activity. So as we're keeping a very close eye on this, we have crews at the Emergency Operations Center. We have a crew on Maui. Dylan Acheta was there. We just heard from him. And also we have a crew en route to the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center right now, expecting a new update very shortly.
And of course, our First Alert weather team is also standing by with the very latest. And we want to go now to our Ben Gutierrez and Drew Davis for more insight.
All right, good evening, Steph. Good evening, Mark. Of course, we've been tracking this throughout the entirety of the afternoon. The earthquake happened at around 1:30 p.m. Hawaii time. One of the things, of course, we've been talking about is just absolutely how strong this earthquake is. This is an 8.8, upgraded from an 8.7, which was originally estimated to be around an 8.0. Of course, we don't typically see an 8 in terms of the Richter scale about once a year. We're nearly at that 8-point or that 9-point scale where we see one of those about roughly one every 10 years. We've been showing this graph a lot today. This is just the overall caliber of the earthquakes. And of course, this is on a fault line that's very active just off of Russia. Ben and I have been talking about this since last week. Ben, you were here in the studio covering a tsunami watch for the island chain for a magnitude 7.5 earthquake, which is an energy equivalent to about 1 billion pounds of TNT or explosive. But this one, nearly 1 trillion pounds of TNT. And Ben, what was it like when we had that watch initially and it was taken down about a week ago?
It was there was obviously some concern because during the watch, this is the period of time when officials, Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, the geophysicists, the seismologists are looking at all the data and trying to determine if a tsunami has indeed been generated. The watch basically means that it's a heads up. You're supposed to take basically, be aware that an earthquake has occurred and a tsunami may have been generated, and then be on the alert for a tsunami advisory, which would tell us that a tsunami is coming, but it won't be destructive, or a tsunami warning where a destructive tsunami could be possible. We've been talking about, even the officials have been saying, we don't know how big the waves are going to be. On the Kamchatka Peninsula, as Jennifer has been talking about, or Japan, parts of Russia, some of them have been up to maybe 20 feet or thereabouts, 15 feet. It depends on where you are. Some of the data that we've been looking at have been indicating that we might get a tsunami anywhere from maybe 3 to 9 feet, but that is not for certain. What we do know is that this uncertainty means that we need to evacuate nonetheless, because again, there's a distinct lack of data. When you look at the globe, we're in the middle of the Pacific, and basically there's nothing in this large area back here or over here that tells us exactly how big a wave is going to be, how big a tsunami is. We've got all the dart dart buoys that are like right along the coastline, so that'll give us the initial indication. But then when you get to the actual in the middle of the ocean, we have to guess. Basically,
we're kind of in just kind of a waiting period right now. Again, we've been reporting all afternoon and all evening that we're waiting to see the data from the Midway Atoll. That's typically our first chance to see the size of a tsunami when it comes from the northwest or comes from the west, like we've seen in 2011 with Japan. We have to wait to see how it propagates across the Pacific Ocean. And we're about at that time where we're expecting to get that data soon. And as soon as we hear from the Midway buoys, we will report that as soon as we can. And now we're within 1 hour. Right now, as of on air, it's 6:20 p.m. The original estimates for the Hanalei arrival of the tsunami, 7:10 p.m. We're within 50 minutes of the arrival, or the estimated arrival. It's not going to be exact, but we're going to be around that time, 7:17 for Oahu, and then continuing down the island chain within the next 20-ish minutes. So again, we've got a lot to watch over the next hour or so, and we still have time. You still have time to prepare. You still have time to go upstairs. Make sure to grab important documents, grab water, non-perishables in case you're stuck for a while. And of course, make sure to take care of your family first and make sure they are aware of the threat.
The other thing to remember is that even though we might not know the size of the wave, again, and just reiterating, this is not a surf wave. This is an entire column of water that goes from the ocean surface down to the bottom of the ocean. And as that ocean bottom starts to get higher and higher, as it gets closer to land, that energy is going to be going up into the basically, going upward and spreading out. And so we could still see some very strong currents, even if the wave is not there. Right now, we got a live press conference to take to you. I think this is over at the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency.
Aloha, we're going to give another quick update here. As everyone has heard several times, a very significant earthquake off of Kamchatka, creating a wave. Important data point, when the wave passed through Midway Atoll, it was in total from peak to trough, okay, trough to peak, 6 feet. That means a 3-foot wave riding on the top of the ocean. And that was the piece of data we got just a few moments ago. We're tracking the wave at several different points. As I said, at Johnson Atoll, we had that wave at 3 feet amplitude. We will also be getting data from Wake Island, and the Aleutians are seeing some waves. And then finally, French Frigate Shoals at 6:33 p.m. We expect more data. Guam will see some waves at 6:57 p.m., but we are still expecting this significant wave. So everyone has to continue to be vigilant. There are a few other things that I need to report as to the evacuation that should be maintained. Absolutely beyond the waves hit on our island shores. We will only give the all clear when we feel there's total safety. We have begun coordination for additional people. The homeless coordination has been ongoing. We're making sure individuals without houses are notified of the tsunami warning and they're being removed from the areas. That coordination is going on all islands. We're working with service providers everywhere. I will say, once again, this is a very serious event. We have Blackhawks activated. We have high water vehicles ready to go. So we will be able to rescue people, but please do not put yourself in harm's way. Make sure you actually evacuate right now. We're going to have another update from everyone soon at 6:50. You'll hear one more alarm. Remember, at 6:40, that's 30 minutes out from when the first wave is expected to hit Kauai, and that will be the last alarm you'll have. But we will give constant updates. I'm going to turn it over now to General Logan.
Aloha and good evening. Thank you, Governor. So the Hawaii National Guard remains postured, as I described earlier. We've placed liaison officers into all the emergency management agencies within all the counties to create a near real-time response capability. We also have additional forces that have been activated. The governor touched on this, but we have high water vehicles, which are those with large tires, big engines that could do a variety of different mission sets, and we have soldiers that are already manning those. We also have additional aircraft placed into an alert capacity with crews that can do a variety of mission sets, which are medevac, search and rescue, and hoist operations to rescue folks and take them to a hospital care facility or a point of care. I want to reiterate something that Governor Green said is we're not out of the woods yet. We're collecting data as the wave or the energy passes through some of the other islands. We're in constant contact with all of our partners, either on the mainland or within here, our state of Hawaii, the greater part of the Department of Defense, and also transmitting data to our National Guard headquarters on the mainland. So I ask everybody to remain vigilant, take this seriously, and wait until you get the all clear signal, or we reduce the warning to a lower level from either your state or your county official government sources. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mahalo tag. Up next, Hawaii Emergency Management Agency Administrator James Barros.
All right, aloha. As we move this evacuation from those zones, we want to ensure that you're doing it safely and you're not panicking. You have time to get out of the inundation zone. The counties are working their sheltering plan and opening up tsunami assembly areas. So work with your counties, go to your county websites and see what shelters are being opened. The state is posturing that if needed, we can provide additional support post-impact at the shelters. I have opened the line of communication with FEMA. So we're on several calls so far. FEMA's postured to support the state at this time. Thank you.
Mahalo, Administrator Barros. Finally, we will bring up the Director of Business, Economic Development and Tourism, James Kunane Tokioka.
Mahalo. Aloha. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I will give an update on the visitor industry and what we're doing to the visitors that are here in Hawaii and informing them. I've been in contact with Jerry Gibson from the Hawaii Hotel Alliance and Jeff Wagner. We leaned on them during the Maui wildfire to help us, so we're leaning on them now. And the properties that are along the coastline are being asked to evacuate vertically, 4 floors and above. Some of the people have left the hotels, and the ones that have left the hotels to go to the airport, if they need a place to stay, when the airport is shut down, if it is shut down, then they should call the property that they came from to see if there is still availability at that property so they can go back there. I want to ensure that their friends and family on the mainland understand that there is a plan, and I think we need to give the governor and Administrator Barros and General Logan, big kudos, because there was a lot of training that went on after the wildfires, and this is the perfect opportunity for us to put those training, what we learned in training, into place. So thank you all for that, and
I don't surf.
be patient with each other. God bless you all.
Mahalo, Director Tokioka. At this time, we will open up for questions from the media, and I will call upon everyone one at a time. And I'm going to start with Ashley from Hawaii Public Radio.
Can you talk about what it means, what a 6-foot wave kind of means? Like, can you give some type of, I guess, reference point for people as to what that's going to look like?
So the question is asking, can we clarify and kind of give deeper details to what a 6-foot wave means?
I think that's a very important question to clarify. So when we describe this wave, it's probably more accurate to describe it as having an amplitude of 3 feet above its base. When the water pulls back from a tsunami, you have the base drop. That becomes the trough of a wave to a peak, which is higher. That full distance from peak to trough is 6 feet. This would be 3-foot wave riding across the top of the surf. I wanted to remind people, this is not just like a wave comes off the shore, a 3-foot wave smacks down on the beach. This is a longitudinal wave with great force driving through the shoreline and into land. That's why we ask people to evacuate very far back. People asked if there was a generic way to describe how far you have to get away from the shoreline. To be absolutely safe, it's at least 4,000 feet. That's the better part, that's 4/5 of a mile, basically. That's why these inundation zones, which you can see on the map, which show red, are not just a few feet off of the shoreline. It is, again, not just a 3-foot wave. It is a forceful wall of water that will move across the shoreline and into the community if we ultimately get hit by this tsunami. We will get extra information as we go. It was described to us that it is impossible to predict until we get closer exactly how large the wave. It could be significantly larger than that, and it also could be smaller. We're aware of that. A little bit of history, just so people know real quickly. In 1946, before we had alarms, on tragically April Fool's Day in 1946, the tsunami hit Hilo. It was started by an earthquake that was 8.6. This one is larger. It took 4.5 hours to hit Hawaii. That year, we lost 159 loved ones. It was the middle of the day. Another tsunami that came in 1960 that hit Hilo, also there, came from Chile. It was a 9.5 magnitude, which is an extraordinarily large earthquake. That was on May 22nd, 1960. Took out 500 homes. That caused a 35-foot wave. It happened at 1 a.m. in the morning, which is why we lost 61 loved ones that year. So we will not be out of the woods until we come past first the wave that strikes Kauai, and then we'll see where it inundates along the rest of the shoreline. Again, it will not just hit some parts of the island, it should probably spread around the islands. And so you can expect waves everywhere, provided that tsunami does hit as we expect.
Andrew, Honolulu Star Advertiser.
You answered a couple of questions I had already. What about electric utilities? When Electric says they're coordinating with emergency management folks, is there a plan for the power companies to preemptively shut off power sometime before the expected arrival time?
So the question is around public utilities and whether or not there will be a shut-off, electricity.
So we are in constant communication with HECO. Right now, the protocol is not for them to shut off, but we're in constant comms with them that if we see it impacting worse than what we anticipate, then we'll ask them to go into a shutdown. But we're having conversations with them.
Also, as it was described to me, we can't expect the wave to hit poles, and usually poles will go down. we expect significant debris. If we end up having a 3-foot or larger tsunami come through communities, there are going to be significant amounts of debris that can damage these poles. They will be out in force immediately once they get the all clear. They will also have to wait for the all clear because we can't afford to lose anyone driving along the roads. And we also don't want to send the wrong message. Anyone could be confused by seeing, anyone other than General's team out there. You can expect everyone to stay off the road. But we will do search and rescue throughout.
Lei Ui, KITV4.
Andrew had my question about the electric grid. So my question is, what specific criteria moving forward, whether it be seismic activity, are you guys looking at to lower the threshold of the tsunami warning and going down?
So it's a request to describe sort of the criteria for how we move down from a warning moving forward. Mike Hyde.
The first part will be the actual progression of the waves. So at 6:50, which is about 17 minutes from now, we'll resume our next meeting. We're probably getting data almost as we speak from Wake Island and then the French frigate shoals. That was expected in this moment. So they'll be giving us some extra wave data. But that first wave will hit around 7:10, and it could take as long as 30 minutes for the waves, is my understanding, to hit other parts of the islands. So we'll be able to give kind of constant updates about where the waves are. As you can imagine, there are going to be people out there communicating on social media. Again, please just stay home. Let the waves ride out, let the energy dissipate, and then we'll be able to give people a full accounting of when the time is to stand down.
Again, I'll just reiterate, we're going to leave it to the science, and the folks that are at the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center are well-versed and well-experienced in all of these types of activities. They're gathering data, like the governor said, from some of the other land masses that have, and the buoys and the deep ocean sensors. And we're going to rely on them to advise us. I don't anticipate it to be immediate as the waves first start hitting the parts of our state at 7-10 hours. So it may take several hours after that to see that amplification and see it dissipate. But rest assured that immediately upon learning that, we're going to put that information out through a variety of different media, to include the media that we have here today, so that people can try to get their lives and return to normalcy. Thank you.
I'll go to Daryl Huff, Hawaii News Now.
When you talk about a 3-foot wave, how does that compare to the ones that caused the great damage in Hilo? And also, how certain are you about
she's already gone.
Measurement? Can people look at it and rely on that when they look at, say, a tsunami map? Is there any reason for people to go beyond what the tsunami
Like I said, I'll probably leave.
So lots packed into that question. So it's a question around describing that 3-foot wave, the impact in comparison to past history, which I think the governor shared.
Okay, so the comparative waves, the wave in 1960, when we had the giant earthquake off of Chile, was gigantic. It was a 35-foot wave. I mean, that was a total destruction wave. It came and wiped out houses completely. Right now, the first indication we had, the first small crest was actually just 30 centimeters, about 1 foot. And then that was followed ultimately by 6 feet from peak to trough, okay? So that 30 centimeters, I believe, was the peak to trough of initial. Now we had a 6 foot. We continue to get data. It can come in like several kind of waves of water. It usually goes in cycles of about 20 minutes is how they are seeing these this forceful water come through. This is not, we pray, going to be anywhere near like that tragic tsunami in 1960. And we'll give updated measurements as soon as we hear specifically what the French frigate shoals show. That's going to be helpful. As we hear those data, we'll be able to push some of that out perhaps on social media. We'll come back out again repeatedly throughout, but soon we're going to see the wave. In about 3 minutes, everyone can expect the final siren, which is 6:40, and then we will hopefully see everyone out of harm's way, and we'll begin to tell you how the waves actually hit.
One final question from Daryl.
Make it good, Daryl.
So given the size of the wave, what is the vulnerable infrastructure besides the electric grid?
A couple quick things, and then I'll have General come up. I mean, this is about 3 feet, okay? But a wave of water, that means it can move cars, it will throw fences around. If it hits, it can dislodge trees. That's why you just can't be out there. The impact is at great speed. Any structure that gets loose and strikes an individual could take them out. And people can drown quite easily with the force of that kind of wave. So again, people have to really distinguish the waves we are accustomed to on the coast every day versus a tsunami. It's a different beast altogether. And of course, if it gets much larger, they do anticipate it could be larger. That's why they get multiple measurements. It's even more dangerous, even more forceful. Houses will be damaged. There will be debris all over the place if we do get a full tsunami.
Yeah, the federal government classifies critical infrastructure into 16 separate categories. About 13 are relevant to the state of Hawaii. One in particular is what we call transportation. It's broken down into either airport, highways, or harbors. As you know, all of our harbors are at sea level and are vulnerable. We don't know what those impacts are going to be, and we're constantly evaluating those because not just a tsunami here, but a hurricane could have similar effects. Most of our airports are also near sea level, except for some of the smaller ones. So it's good that we have the Department of Transportation participatory in the update meetings that we're having so they can anticipate what those impacts might be. And then we have plans in place to try to assist to get those back operational as quickly as possible. The governor did talk about many of our road networks are near sea level in our coastal regions and quite possibly to the road itself, or all the power lines and all the other infrastructure that goes along with it may be impacted by some type of wave or tsunamic system. So we're careful about that. We don't have a compiled list together yet, but in just about every hazard that we have, it's incorporated into our all hazards plan. And we're either going to be directly able to help assist in its recovery or call in additional assets as necessary.
Expect in 1 moment the next alarm. So why don't we actually pause now and we'll come back to you in short order. We should have more data, but if we don't come back to you, just please everyone be very safe and we'll begin to report on the waves as we get direct observations. Kind of around, we still anticipate 30 minutes from now, around 7:10. Thank you for being safe.
30 minutes. God, it feels like it's been forever.
And that was just really good information provided by the governor there and officials about the first measurements that they got from a Midway Atoll, the wave measuring 6 feet, but across the ocean 3 feet. And they say that it doesn't sound as large. However, do not be mistaken, because these are tsunami waves, different from a surf wave. They push inland and they also wrap around the island.
Yeah, and emergency officials repeated, several times that, it's impossible to predict. Whatever happens in one location is not an indicator of what will happen here in the islands, as we are about 30 minutes out from the first expected impacts of the wave.
Right now we're hearing that alarm. That is the final alarm that the state is going to issue, signaling that we are just 30 minutes away from the estimated arrival of the first tsunami waves that will arrive in Hanalei on the Garden Isle, on the island of Kauai.
And Governor Green also said that this will be the last siren. So the 640 siren that just went off right now, we'll be having more updates from emergency officials. But in the meantime, we do want to go back to our first alert weather team, kind of breaking down what Governor Green was talking about, because this is really the first time that we've gotten some real data in regard to impact on this. So let's send it over to Ben Gutierrez at the First Alert Weather Center. Ben, how do we process and digest what the governor just said in terms of measurements?
Well, he's been talking about trough to crest, and of course, that is at the buoy over at Midway Atoll, which is, I'm going to try and zoom out here, and it is actually right, if we didn't have, hang on here just a second, because we've been working on trying to get some of the data to you. We're looking at, hang on just a second, I'm just going to erase the satellite imagery. Honolulu is there, you can see that. And then we're going to try and put at least some kind of indicator as to where the Midway is approximately, I'll just put it right about here or thereabouts. I've got two that the passes, yeah,
The hell are you
So
talking? You didn't
let's see.
mark me.
Hang on just a second. We're just going to try and zoom out a little bit.
Just so we can see the labels real quick. Again, Midway Atoll is off to our northwest. That's typically where we see information from approaching tsunamis. And one of the reasons we are a little bit concerned about this is kind of the way that the seafloor works here in Hawaii. Unlike the continents, we don't have a continental shelf really that's right offshore. You don't see very shallow water really quickly. The Hawaiian Islands, of course, are formed volcanically, and they're essentially steep mountains.
Yeah,
in
I will.
the
I'll
ocean.
show you
There's a
live
very steep drop off into
when we get
Pacific
close.
water. And
if you can come back to the Weather Center for just a second, because I think what we can do is show you a little bit. So here we have the map of the islands, and then farther off in the northwestern Hawaiian Islands, Drew, if you can like zoom out, we're talking about Midway Atoll, which is one of these islands here. And of course, the buoy there is the one that recorded the trough to crest of 6 feet. Now, again, what does that mean? It means that we do have at least a column of water that may be about 3 feet tall. That is in the open ocean because it is still pretty deep. Let's zoom back in on the Hawaiian Islands, and then we can show you a little bit of what we call the bathygraphy, which is like the opposite of topography, which is what you see on land. Bathymetry, rather, is what we have. So if you look at areas like Honolulu Bay, and we'll just go to a close-up, we can see, like right here at Honolulu Bay, it might be a little bit shallower over here, and so that means that the energy is going to start coming in a little bit higher. And we do have another press conference right now. Mayor Rick Blangiardi of Honolulu is about to take the podium.
Have already gotten to safe places. And the fact is, I would encourage you to keep watching. We'll try to update you as much as we possibly can. One of the things that's developed, we've brought our team here, and I want Chief Vanek is going to speak to you in a moment, is that at 6:30 tonight, we begin a contraflow to traffic to send everything Mocha. So any one-way streets headed Mackay, who can get on there and head Mocha. So if you know somebody who's stuck in traffic, and we know there's a lot of people still stuck in traffic, if you could place that call, I'll let Chief and Roger Morton, I have Transportation Services, give you a little bit more detail.
What is going on? Why can't we hear them?
Stuck in traffic, okay, tell them they've got to be very careful because we can't have the lights. I don't know how many patrol officers we have out there to direct traffic. Be careful, but you can go out on a one-way street and head Mocha.
They
So
only
with that, I'd like
they
to
don't
bring
call
up
them
Chief
Hawaii
Vanek.
shirts. They call them shirts in Hawaii.
Thank you, Mayor. So the first thing I'd like to say is just to echo what the mayor said is make sure you're listening to the first responders if they're giving you directions. Definitely if they're telling you to evacuate, evacuate. If they're giving you directions to drive in a certain direction, follow their directions. The next thing I'd like to ask and tell you is if you don't need to be on the roads, don't be on the roads. If you've arrived at a safe location, like if it's your house, a friend's house, a shelter, or just somewhere safe, stay there. And stay there until it's safe. If you don't need to be on the roads, don't be on the roads. Stay there until you get the all clear. And then finally, if you don't need to call 911, don't. Don't inundate the 911 system. We have a lot of officers out there. They're responding to emergencies. So if you don't need to call 911, unless of course it's an emergency, stay off the 911 system because we need our officers to be able to respond to actual emergencies and calls for 911. With that, let me turn it over to Director Roger Morton.
Yes, thank you. I know it's been a rough day on the highways today. The good news is it seems to be we're clearing a little bit, but the word that but since 2 p.m. we have been adjusting our traffic lights to facilitate Malcolm Mackay travel, and we're continuing to do that. In addition, HPD dispatch has been getting their officers to give directions right on the street. My message really is we're half an hour out from when we anticipate this wave to hit. If you're on an east-west coastal highway, now is the time to calculate, are you going to be on high ground? And if you're not, if you have any doubts, you need to get up Malka side immediately because that's where we're going to have a problem is on our coastal highways, on Kamehameha, on Farrington, on other highways around the island. So that's the message that we have is if police on downtown areas are facilitating travel up. It's been a rough day. I know it took a long time for people to get out, but now's the time to get to high ground.
Aloha, Randall Collins with the Department of Emergency Management would like to reinforce inland and upward. Get to a safe zone, get out of the tsunami area and get to a safe area. That is the number one message. The second message is to stay informed. There is one place to get accurate information, and that is at hnlalert.gov. There's no www, it's just hnlalert.gov in your browser. Not only can you get information there about the tsunami zone areas and where we have activated our tsunami assembly areas, you can sign up and stay informed as we continue to text out information and message information through that application. So hnlalert.gov. Would like to thank the mayor for his leadership. We have enacted or proclaimed a local state of emergency that has opened up all the funding and all the resources and all the decisions that we need to make sure that we can keep people safe. And so with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Ireland.
Good evening, Jim Ireland, Department of Emergency Services. EMS has had a really busy afternoon and early evening. I want to thank all our paramedics, dispatchers, and EMTs for just all the hard work that they've done today. We have an emergency plan for this type of scenario. We will stop potentially responding and may not be able to respond into the inundations zones as we get closer to the predicted wave arrival. And that time has already passed. So for emergencies that are in the inundation zone or near the inundation zone, we may or may not be able to respond over the next 45 minutes and potentially longer until we get the all clear. EMS has had a variety of calls today, just like any other day, but we've had, it seems like an excessive amounts of traffic accidents. We had a critical accident up in Laie, another accident in Waialua, as well as Pearl City. So just wanted to echo what the others said as far as just taking your time, drive safely, be careful, because we don't want to tie up ambulances and resources for preventable accidents like traffic accidents. So be careful. Again, heed the warnings, get to higher ground now. This is all good advice, but we're really coming in really close now to the predicted wave time. So as we get closer, again, EMS may or may not be able to respond to a call in the inundation zone. CORE, which is also in my department, has been very busy. Since about 4 o'clock today, they've been going to coastal areas to help inform and give notice of evacuations to our homeless encampments and populations in these areas. They haven't been able to hit everywhere on the island, but they've tried to hit the busiest and most populous areas for the homeless. So again, a very busy afternoon and potentially evening for EMS. We have called in extra resources. Our ambulance bus is staffed if we need that later, and we'll be standing by with everybody else to see what exact impact this event will bring over the next few hours. Thank you. Yeah.
Accurate information can save lives, okay? So as I've said repeatedly throughout the breaks today, you know, watching your television stations, stay in tune as long as we have power. Please do that. Provide good information. What Randy said about hnlalert.gov, absolute source of correct information. So I want to caution everybody, because I've already seen some social media stuff out there. We're talking about a circumstance right now that we really cannot predict, but we know one thing for certain. If it hits, okay, it can affect lives. It's strong enough, the potential of that. We want you to be accurately informed. As you can see from what you heard in the state report and our city report, we're doing everything we possibly can to help you. So please stick with the accurate information. Don't be deceived by all kinds of stuff. Look to your sources here. And I promise you we'll continue to update you, not just after the wave hits, if in fact it actually hits, or what happens throughout the night. Because just so you know, I've been through this before.
Yeah, I have
The
too.
wave is expected to be here 7:10 in Kauai, a few minutes after that on the island of Oahu. But we might not get an all clear for hours, because that's how these perform. March 11, 2011, that's exactly what happened. We were due at 3:17 in the morning And at Midway, it was a 6-foot wave. It was a 6-foot wave traveling 550 miles an hour. And we were not looking at a good situation. Tonight, they didn't talk about the speed, except we were being told by the civil defense people that this is going to be really bad. Okay, that was then. So it turned out we had some damage. The waves came in, they receded back out, they went back in. They did it 4 or 5 times. And they kept telling us the next one could be big. We did not get an all clear for a wave that was supposed to hit us at 3:17 until 11 a.m. the next morning. So we don't know what kind of an evening we're in for, but you want to pay attention. You want accurate information. This could save your life.
Probably
I
right.
promise you,
Right
all of
after
us
the.
will do everything we possibly can to help everybody out there. But you also have to help us too.
Right
Pay
after the
attention to
event.
that. And one last time, okay? If you're anywhere near the water, get out of there. Get to high ground, okay? Thank you. Any questions?
A lot of people park like on Atlas and
Yeah.
mountain areas, kind of windy.
Yeah.
So I know you said it's hard to predict for a timeline, but a lot of them will see that initial wave and then say, okay, we're good. So what do you tell them? You know, they want to get home, but they're
Yeah.
still far.
Well, I think that they want to go to H&L Alert, and we'll be talking to people at that. If all they have is cell phones, assuming they're not watching, they can't watch television. Maybe they have some kind of reception there, or to any of the station's websites. But stick with accurate information, and we'll keep you folks advised too as to what people should do. We're going to just, you know, Lynn, in this situation, we cannot over communicate. We all know that. We're going to try to do that as reliable and as a detailed way as we possibly can. So I know last time, because people did the same exact thing, and that's what we've been encouraging. People didn't come down from the mountain until after sunrise. A lot of people stayed up there. You want to stay until you get told that it's safe to come down. That's what I would tell people.
About
Wait
20
until you
minutes out.
find out it's safe to come down, because as I said earlier, that last time on March 11th, if you remember, that tsunami was in Japan. It was the most televised
Actually,
tsunami ever, because it was
16.
daytime, cameras everywhere, and it was almost surreal
16 minutes.
watching what was going on. And so while I choose not to think about the worst happening, at this point in time, in this hour, I want to be as conservative as we possibly can in the spirit of saving people's lives. So information is very, very important. Okay, we don't know what we're dealing with right now. Within minutes, we probably will, and we'll go from there, and we'll keep you posted. If you're in a safe place, stay there until somebody tells you to leave. Yes, ma'am. Well, we're gonna have to see what the extent of it is. I think, you know, we've got everybody out there between HPD, our fire department, our first responders, EMS, Jim is here. You know, we're gonna be on full alert. I mean, we're gonna try to do everything we possibly can. You heard the governor say the same thing. We're all services here. We're all in this together in a moment like this. We will do everything we have with the available resources we have to respond the way people would hope we would respond. That's the best I can tell you. Right now, I'm hoping for the best. We're trying to prepare for the worst. We're hoping for the best. Yes.
What fortune cookie did you read that in?
Yeah, I'll bring up Jim Allen as far as the tools. Okay, thank you.
Well, from our standpoint in EMS, we have ambulances, ground ambulances, SUVs. So those are our tools. But I think in the earlier press conference from the governor, he talked about his air assets and the National Guard being on standby. And I can't speak for the Honolulu Fire Department, but they also have air assets. So when we are in a rescue situation, we have seen the air assets for lots of different agencies here and across the country, whether it's National Guard, Coast Guard, or the fire department, be able to do rescues where ground vehicles can't get in. So besides what we have available to respond on the ground, there are those air assets.
I promise you
Other
that I'm not putting myself or anybody else.
Admiral Reagan earlier from the Coast Guard, and they've deployed all of their
Promise.
assets out in the ocean. They're hitting around all the coastlines, and they're also going to be readily available, which is a great resource as well.
At
to
this
complement
current time,
our
I'm
other
in
resources.
no danger whatsoever. Okay.
Anybody else, guys? Anybody here? Anything else you want to add?
If I was in
Anybody-
any
anything
immediate
else?
danger, I would not be here.
Dr. Arlen said that they can't send their ambulance into the zone right now. Is that the same with HPD and with HFD just because of the danger?
I'm going to pull up a feed of Hawaii here.
The question is, can we send our
Thank you,
HFD
Lucy.
or
I appreciate that.
HPD into the zones that Jim said we're going to keep out of right now if they're in danger zones? Is that right, Wayne?
He looks like he's had a rough day.
You know, our officers are dedicated, and they're going to put themselves in danger like they do every single day. But I'm going to tell you right now, if there's a 6-foot wave coming at 500 feet per second or whatever it is, I don't think I'd blame them if they don't go rushing into that. But what I will tell you is that our officers are highly dedicated. And as a matter of fact, we've kept back all of our daytime officers. We called in our nighttime officers early. They're not actually even supposed to start until 9 o'clock, but all of them came in early. So we have way more than 100% working right now. And that just goes to show their commitment. I have full pride that they're all in working really hard. All of our support units are in. We'll do what we need to do to make sure that we keep the public safe. And I want to assure you that we're there for you to keep the public safe. And if you need us, we'll be there. We'll answer that call for service.
Yes, just an update on some of the highways. Some of our highway routes have been closed. HPD is enforcing closures on Farrington Highway at Waimea Street, at Fort Weaver Road at North Road, no Mackay bound, ocean bound traffic, and Fort Weaver Road at Papipi Road, no Mackay ocean bound traffic is being let through at this point. So be on the lookout. There could be other closures that occur as the officers in the field deem
Yeah, I know a lot
necessary.
about.
But those are three that we know of that we're just
Yes.
advising the public.
I know what a tsunami is. I am at sea
Any other
level.
questions? I want to thank you and all the media outlets for staying on this all afternoon like this and continuing to broadcast here. And let's just all hope.
However, it's not supposed to hit here for another like 4 hours.
For the best, okay? You have a big responsibility, and we're here to answer whatever questions, but we need your help too in reaching the people, and I thank you for that. Again, stay away from social media. No false information. Deal with accuracy. It can make all the difference. Okay, thank you.
About 10. Oh, we're about 10 minutes. There it is.
And now this is a live look at Hanalei, where the first arrived waves are expected to arrive, at 7:10. That is less than 12 minutes out.
Yeah, we're giving you a live look at Hanalei Bay right now, which is the first site of any sort of anticipated activity. You just heard from Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi saying that, even after that we hit that time, we could be in for a long night until that all clear is given. You also heard the emphasized message from emergency officials. You should not be on the roads right now. You should not be in low-lying areas, and do not flood the emergency call system. At this point, you should be at a place where you're safe. You're at an evacuation site. You're at a tsunami assembly area as we kind of wait through and see what this 8.8 magnitude earthquake that originated from Russia earlier this afternoon, 1:30 Hawaii time, what that brings. So again, a live look at Kauai right now. We want to go back to Ben Gutierrez and Drew Davis for their explanation on what we could expect. This is coming off of what we heard from Governor Green getting the first initial readings from the buoy at Midway Atoll. While they do say it's impossible to predict what could be happening here in Hawaii, what you do see at Midway was very newsworthy. What can you tell us, Ben and Drew?
Hi.
All right, thank you, Mark. Thank you, Steph. Of course, at this time, we're less than 10 minutes out from the potential arrival of the tsunami in Kauai and up near Hanalei. Again, just one last quick look. Of course, we're watching it was a 3-foot wave on top of the ocean reported at Midway Atoll. And of course, the waters get very shallow very quick right off of the Hawaiian Islands. Of course, we don't have a continental shelf around us like the continents do, where they have a large area of shallow water and then just a strict drop off into the deep ocean. It gets very shallow very quickly. We're mountains building up underwater. One last quick look at the Kauai evacuation zones. You can see this behind us. Again, less than 10 minutes away. That's when we're expecting to see the tsunami. It might not be exactly at 7:10, but that's the best prediction right now for the arrival of this tsunami. just taking a quick look, most of Kauai is in the tsunami evacuation zone, at least all of the coastlines. And the reasoning for that is because of all the Mauka areas, the mountains, it pushes right up against the coastline. You don't have very many areas that are highlighted in yellow right here. That indicates the extreme tsunami evacuation zone. And that's for the worst tsunami possible, the worst possible modeled tsunami. We don't expect that that's going to be the case with this one. But again, we have to take precautions across the entire island. Again, less than 10 minutes out. Ben, what can you tell us about the tsunami? We're watching the Hanalei live cam very closely. We've just taken a look out there. What can you tell us?
Well, basically, when you look at the tsunami evacuation map, obviously places like Hanalei and also West Kauai, where you're looking at that area, there's a very big run up. And then when you look at East Kauai right now, basically Kapa'a, all the way down to Wailua, even down to Hanamaulu, that area there are some points where it is pretty shallow, where it is pretty flat as far as the landmass, but at the same time, places like Hanalei, even Hanalei as you can see that the tsunami evacuation map is a little bit deeper. It goes further inland. And one point I want to make up too, we've been talking about a wave. We could be talking several waves because that would be, we've been mentioning the first wave. And so tsunamis generally you don't just have one, you're going to have a bunch of them. And so there is that possibility where we will see waves possibly for several hours. And you can definitely see as we take a closer look at the island of Kauai evacuation maps, you can definitely see
where
that
is the
Hanalei up at the top and also West Kauai, there's a very large area that goes inland and also on west or make that East Kauai, places like Waialua, also the Kapa'a area, Anahola, Hanamaulu, those areas are also within that evacuation zone. Kauai also is older geographically or geologically rather, and so that means there are larger rivers. And so that also means that you should stay away from any of the waterways that go inland. The Wailua River, for example, is one. Navilivili Harbor is another.
All right, I'm cutting that off because we're going to start watching the cams here. Share this.
I'm in the back.
And we are
2011 off in the back.
about 6 minutes out.
Back 2 off of the station.
This will tell, I mean, this will tell a lot of the kind of energy that this thing's gonna bring here. And like I said before, I am not in any danger at the moment. If it's, I'll be long gone.
The back. For Central 10891. Central 1507.
All right.
10810-1. Central 9954 off in the back.
Control Company 1 on scene with EMS 1. Copy Engine 1.
About 5 minutes. 5 minutes. About three that actually happened. And then I've been through 3 tsunamis that actually took place. And then I probably, I don't know, 5 more warnings. Yeah, I can take it down.
Central from 8444. I'll be back off at the Kikuanoa and Contraflow intersection.
Let me. I've been through a few.
Central 1630, likewise, Kikuanoa and Contraflow.
2011 was the worst one that I had ever. I mean, it was.
From 1630
crazy,
over to there.
to be honest.
Contraflow as well.
It was just more eerie.
Heading back to Cunayuma and Macau. $159 off in the back.
I'm gonna take myself off.
Central 105, checking out Kikuano, Highway 11. Nine off in the back. Track 1 Central off in the back.
Yeah, we're 3 minutes away.
Off in the back. 608 off in the back.
RF Medic 12, respond for chest pain. Kona Airport, United Gate 1. Kona RF Medic 12, respond for chest pain. Kona Airport, United Gate 1, time is 1908.
And 915 off the back.
It looks like it's pushing up a little more.
I'll be off at the intersection of Midway and Kinole. Off Kinole and Kukuo.
1 minute.
Is transporting.
Copy.
All right, 710. Here we go.
$15.16 Central. Be off in the back.
So far, so good.
Central 1507. Be off in the back.
So far, so good.
Medic 19 fire control.
Oh, I could see it. It's pretty good. Looks like it's picking up a little bit.
Medic 19 fire control. We have a 5-8 male refusal AMA. 6-8 male, excuse me, refusal or available return.
Control copy.
I believe this is the Hanalei Bay.
Center RO 906 talking about.
Hanalei Bay.
5 and 1177.
Macho, shut on, dude. Should we go full screen at Hanalei Bay? I think that's what I'm going to do.
And I mean, taking us back now to 2011, Ben, I don't know if you remember, but the 9.1 magnitude quake in Japan, it was a very powerful earthquake, and that sent us a tsunami wave as well. And you could definitely, when you do see it on camera, you can definitely tell that that is a tsunami wave. You talk about the receding of the water, and I remember vividly watching Hilo Bay, and you will definitely see that big difference there. As far as right now, though, again, we are just monitoring and looking at the shoreline for any changes there. And again, once again, off in the distance, that sunbeam that you were pointing to, you're also noticing some subtle differences and changes in the water there. No major recession of the water yet, which is a telltale sign that the tsunami wave has arrived.
Sunset is expected at 7:12, so we've still got some daylight. We're just past that. And thank goodness that we still have that light out there to really give us a clearer sense of what is happening. We're going to be staying on this cam at Hanalei right now. This is a live stream overlooking Hanalei Bay with the expected arrival of the first activity of the tsunami generated by the 8.8 quake. We're looking at this. Our first alert weather team is monitoring this shot very closely. Literally an unfolding situation as we're watching the water and kind of paying close attention to what we're seeing here with the conditions.
And again, the water here has to wrap around since Hanalei Bay is on the northern portions of the island. It's coming from the west and northwest. Russia is off to the northwest of the island chain. We've been showing that map of just completely open water. So we have to see a little bit of a wraparound. First, it hits the Nepali coast and then starts to move into Hanalei Bay, move down the western and leeward coast of Kauai. So we are going to continue to see how this evolves.
And Drew and Ben, talk about the impact of, I know this earthquake, 8.8 earthquake off the eastern coast of Russia had the depth of 46 miles down. Now, talk about how that plays a role in the strength and power of wave.
Well, usually the deeper an earthquake is centered, the less likely it will cause an earthquake. It will cause a tsunami, rather. However, it kind of depends on the type of earthquake. Drew had explained earlier, if it's a slip, not too bad. If it is a thrust earthquake that goes straight up and that pushes a whole column of water up, that's one of the things that we were seeing in the Thailand earthquake, the devastating, I believe it was 2006 earthquake. Might have been, I might have to check on the date there, but the one that devastated so many places like Indonesia and on Christmas Eve of that year. Right now, Honolulu not really showing anything, but then again, 710 was an estimated arrival. There was a wave that was recorded, according to Haima officials, at the buoy at Midway Atoll. So depending on how things are going, we could be seeing a delayed arrival, but then again, remember,
And it
is
just
not
hit
just the first one.
7:17, which is when we were expecting the first waves to arrive on Oahu. If we can now switch over to, this is a live look at Honolulu Harbor, where earlier we were also monitoring quite a few reports that boaters, a number of them, and fishing boats were heeding the warning. And we also saw them head out to sea, staying away from the channels, going in water at a depth of 300 feet or greater. And you can see it looks like the harbor is all clear. Even got word that the Coast Guard cutter ship also left the harbor right now. As we take a look at Honolulu Harbor, 7:17, again, the estimated arrival of the first waves here at Oahu.
Yeah, and the ability for these vessels to evacuate is one of the silver linings of an event like this, because you had a 6-hour notice, for the boaters to head out to the open ocean, for residents and visitors to head to different evacuation sites right now. So we're keeping a very close eye. Live
So
look
far,
at Honolulu
so
Harbor.
good.
It's 7:18 right now. 8 minutes after the first wave was expected, and the epicenter, so to speak, when something like this, the first area of focus is Hanalei Bay on Kauai. We still have some daylight out right now to keep a close eye on this. Now, Drew and Ben and Jen as well, as we're looking at these images here, what should our viewers be paying attention to in regards to the water movement and activity?
Sorry, before you guys answer, can we switch over now to this live look at Waikiki, where we might be able to detect more changes in the water here, and you can definitely see a clear view of the coastline, and definitely empty there. Earlier shots, right, Mark, when you guys began the coverage right after the tsunami warning, the beaches were crowded. You can see that is not the case right now. They heeded the warning. Mayor Rick Blangiardi said, if you're anywhere near the coastline, get out.
And I think it's important to note just generally the ocean conditions right now. We do have a small craft advisory. We have strong trade winds. We also have a rising swell on south-facing shores and east-facing shores. We're seeing wave heights expected today at 3 to 5. And this is wave heights alone, waves that you surf, not the tsunami itself. East-facing shores at 2 to 4. So you could kind of see in some of these shots, there does seem to be some disruption, some rip currents that are happening, strong currents that are happening. So very interesting as we look at these live shots, since it's not, it's traveled so many miles to get here so far with the epicenter just off the coast of Russia and giving us that 6-hour window to get here. We are likely going to be seeing on a smaller scale of a tsunami, but still a lot of energy. But it's really hard to predict how the wave direction is going to be impacting some of the spots. But like we're talking about, the shape of Hilo Bay itself historically has caused damage in the past, especially for boats and even along the coastal harbors there. So this is something we're going to have to wait and watch throughout the next couple of hours. The initial wave could be small, but then build up throughout the next couple of hours.
One thing that I'm noticing when we have had tsunamis in the past, when we have shown this shot, this live shot of Coconut Island, usually that little channel between the island and the main part of Hawaii Island, you can see a current that is going in and out. We haven't seen that yet in Hilo, obviously. Right now, here's another live look at Hanalei Bay. And whatever was happening off in the distance might have been a camera artifact. Haven't seen it off in the distance anymore, off at the point, but we are still seeing some currents that that still indicates some sort of activity. The shoreline right now, the water has not receded, but there is, again, as Jen mentioned, the possibility that maybe the first wave, not so big, but again, it's a series of waves. We had in 2011, huge waves start coming in and impacting the Kailua Kona area, causing major damage to the shops on Ali'i Drive. And that was like 4 or 5 hours after the initial waves had hit Oahu. And so we're not in the clear yet. It's not a single wave.
That's true. It's not always the first wave that might be the most dangerous, and it is a series of waves. That's a great reminder, Ben. And now we want to turn things over to our reporter, Mahealani Richardson.
Yeah, we had mentioned the vessels leaving harbor areas, heading out into the open ocean. We have great video of some of the vessels leaving the ports. Let's send it over to Mahea with some of the images you've captured. Hi, Mahea.
Thanks a lot, Mark and Steph. And of course, if you need to interrupt me at any moment, because we're all keeping an eye on our ports, but I wanted to show you this video.
I want to see the weather. Let's see. I mean, it doesn't look like there's a lot going on. I mean, I know that they're saying that maybe the initial wave isn't big, and well, hopefully this is all there is to it. I mean, so far.
Medic 6, respond for possible CVA, Kuala Elderly Apartments, building Foxtrot 14.
What is this? Is this the Bay? Maui Live. I don't know what's happening in Russia. Place looks awesome. I'll switch back to this.
Gutierrez just mentioned what is really important, and that is the reason, even though this timeline, it has passed, it's not the time to go back to the beach if you're curious, because we have not seen anything noticeable. It is a series of waves. That's what a tsunami wave is. It is not just one, and it is not a surf wave. It wraps around the island.
Yeah, it's not a singular event. This is an hours-long event, right? Right? And we're looking at this. This is something where you're watching very closely. You're looking at the changes in the water activity. And as the sun has gone down already, who knows how much this shot is going to change, what we'll be able to see right now as we're staying on our Hanalei cam. We are constantly refreshing, making sure it is the most up-to-date image and the most accurate representation of Hanalei Bay. As the reports have come down, as the updates have come down, Hanalei emerged as kind of the first site that was going to be seeing any sort of activity.
We want to go live now to our live cam on Maui, and this is the coastline there, and you can see, I don't know, are you noticing any differences out there, Ben?
Not just yet. It kind of looks normal, but again, we still have some of those streaks of flatter water off in the districts, again, indicative of some currents that are going on. The people who surf, watermen, waterwomen, those who use the ocean a lot are very familiar with those streaks and look for them, because those are the things that will indicate that could get you into trouble if you get caught in it. But nothing that I see. Jen, do you see anything?
It's really hard to tell from this vantage
We all see
point,
the
but
same
it
thing,
does seem like stronger currents are occurring. At the same time, I think it's important to note that we do have high tide that's peaking right now. So there is a rise in water overall and a lot of movement over the water on top of the expected arrival of the tsunami. So a lot of moving parts. It's very dynamic over the Pacific Ocean right now.
One thing that we have had that we haven't really been able to share with you is that the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center has been putting out, or receiving some data as far as the wave heights. And so Wake Island got a 0.7-foot wave that was recorded at the buoy there. Midway, 1 feet. That's not the that's basically the amplitude. That's basically the regular. That's not trough to crest. That is the ocean, the regular ocean surface, and then added to that, 1 foot is the wave height. Highest one we've got is one of the Dart buoys, which had a 3-foot wave out in the open ocean. This is closer to Kamchatka. I'm trying to figure out which exact buoy that it is, but it is DART 21416. There are a couple of buoys that are kind of like out in the area. I've got just so you know what I'm doing, I'm kind of like looking at the map, trying to figure out which one is 21416. And this is probably one of the ones that is pretty, oh yeah, 21416 with a 3-foot amplitude is the one that is closest to the earthquake itself. So that one recorded a 3-foot wave out in the open ocean. The other ones are a little bit smaller. Back to some of the
That's not a loop.
Wave heights. There's about 1.1 feet in Japan. 2 other DART buoys that are out there, 1.5 and 1.4. 0.6 feet and 0.9 feet. And so there is a wave out there. It might not be that big, but again, even if it's not that big, there's still currents.
I know one of the buoys that they were trying to get more information on was the one in Guam at 657 bend. Do you see any data generated at that buoy?
Oh, is that Midway?
Guam.
Guam. I don't have Guam on this list, but I'll look it up.
Okay.
And see if I can look it up for you.
We do want to take a look at one of the reasons, of course, why we were watching Midway Atoll so closely is because it is kind of the first warning when we get a tsunami coming from the west or northwest.
They said anytime.
Let's actually take a look at some of the observed
It was
water
supposed to
levels.
be
Can you bring up
about,
graphics 12 or
10?
max 2 real quick. You can see this very clearly. This is over it seems like the last 24 hours. The blue line, that's the actual prediction for where the water level was going to be. The water level is in red, and you can see as we're going into today, as the tsunami wave is passing, the tsunami waves, I should rather say, is passing the atoll buoy. You've got this jump up.
Yeah,
you've got this jump down. You've got this jump up. You've got this jump down. Again, this is just indicative of how many different waves are going to be potentially moving in. Of course, it looks very different out there. It might look very calm on the camera. But again, Ben and I have been talking about how Hawaii is kind of in a very unique circumstance when it comes to our seafloor, our seafloor topography. Our waters get very deep, very, very fast.
Cool.
So when like much higher and much lower troughs and crests from the waves. Again, the buoy is on the top of the water as the wave is troughing, so it's going down to the bottom. The buoy goes down, and so you're seeing it jump. This is the height in feet. If you let's bring up max 2 again, graphics 12, so you can see what we have out there. Again, this is on the y-axis. This is the height in feet. You're seeing this jump between 2 to just below -1 feet below the average very quickly. This is a very quick jump.
Drew, something I want to jump back to is when we heard earlier from Governor Green, he was talking about the activity with the buoy at Midway.
Yes.
And so can you clear up for us and give us kind of like a direct line explanation? So he said is measured at 6 foot at the buoy.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? What's happening at the ocean surface?
So to the best of my understanding, and Ben, if I say this incorrectly,
Here. And gentlemen, if you could describe what we are seeing here. This was shortly after the powerful earthquake off the eastern coast of Russia.
Yeah, it looks like I'm going to assume that the ocean is on the right, or it might be a jetty. Oh, there we go. That's a better view. All right, this is basically classic tsunami wave action because it's coming in from the open ocean, and then you can see that very, very disturbed, kind of a wall of water that's coming in and overtaking, for example, the seawall there. You see the smaller waves? Those are probably the normal waves that are, just basically every day. But you can see how that big area of white, that white water that pushes in, definitely that's a tsunami. It's a slightly large one. It's not huge by any means, but it is a tsunami wave because you can see just how much energy that it has basically generated and basically pushing in. And so the waves, the little ones you see on the beach just above, basically in the center there, those are regular waves, but tsunami waves, those have definitely been coming in for Japan. Again, it's a little closer to where the epicenter of this earthquake was. But right now, as we take another look at the Hanalei camera, we're not seeing an awful lot. We're still seeing a little bit of the current action, and it seems a little bit flat, close to the area. All right. Pacific Tsunami Warning Center is about to hold a press conference with the latest information. Let's go live there with the latest.
Coming in at Hanalei Bay, not so big, maybe about 1.5 feet above normal sea level, and then the signal was dropping to below normal sea level when I left a minute ago. But that's just the first part of the wave, and we know from what we observed at Midway, it was actually the third wave at Midway was the largest. So we've got some time to wait here at Hanalei, which was the first place it arrived, and of course it is moving down the island chain. So we hadn't seen anything on any other gauges as of yet, but we know it's coming. So we're always hopeful it won't be too bad, but anticipating from our models that yes, we are going to have a significant tsunami going across our islands and arriving on all the coasts. We monitor about 15 sea level gauges across the state, so we will have more reports later. And of course, our news channels will also probably be telling us what they're seeing in places where they can safely observe the coast. So please stay out away from the coast. I know you've all evacuated, so continue to stay evacuated. And the instructions ultimately on when it's safe to go back will come from the state and county emergency management agencies. And but we've got a ways to go. It's probably going to be several hours before we may even be able to lower the warning here in Hawaii to advisory level when waves go down, and probably not at least until tomorrow morning before we're able to completely cancel the warning. And right now most of us are still waiting, and we are waiting to see just how big it is going to get across the state. So stay safe, everyone.
Given that the third wave was the biggest for Midway, are you expecting the same here in the islands of Hawaii? And what's the interval between waves?
So the interval between waves can be 10 to 20 minutes typically, from one wave crest to the next wave crest. And we don't know exactly that Midway, it was the third wave, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the third wave. Here, the wave pattern gets very complicated as the wave crosses the state because those tsunami waves reflect off of islands, and they wrap around islands, and they interact with each other. So at every location, it can be a different wave. But the threat will definitely go on for several hours.
Dr. McCurry, if you could kind of encapsulate everything again with regards to what are you looking for right now? I know you said we're still not clear, but what are the specific elements that you are really tracking to see what's that next data point that you can release?
So we're pretty much done with forecasting the tsunami at this point. We are just reacting. So of course, our center has responsibilities across the whole Pacific. So we're continuing to send messages to other countries around the Pacific. but our main responsibility is here in Hawaii. And so at this point, we're more or less just monitoring the situation to try to determine when we could lower the alert level and ultimately when we can cancel.
The last time that you folks, I guess, were activated in this capacity, was that back in 2011 during the Japan earthquake? And how are the situations different? Because it's about the same direction of where it's coming from.
Yeah, 2011 was certainly the last significant tsunami we experienced here in Hawaii. But we actually handle many tsunami events in the Pacific every year because earthquakes in the lower magnitude 7 range are pretty frequent, maybe about 10 a year in the Pacific, and almost all of them generate some kind of smallish tsunami, but we don't normally hear about it. But sure, yeah, the Japan tsunami was the last significant tsunami, and in some ways it's similar, but every tsunami is unique in certain ways. The way the source behaves affects the tsunami, and crossing the bathymetry in the Pacific, the waves get focused and defocused in different ways, and so that's why we need numerical models to help us predict what might happen on our coast.
I know that you were expecting 3 to 10. Now here we are, and we're more in the reaction phase. But can you revisit that prediction of up to 10 foot?
Yeah, sure. So the main thing we use to constrain our models are these deep ocean gauges that we support in the Northwest Pacific. Well, we support them all across the Pacific, but the ones for this event are the ones in the Northwest Pacific, and they're out in deep water. They measure the tsunami without interference from reflections on the coast, which you have with a normal
It looks
tide
like the
gauge
nicest
that's in
day
a
of the
harbor.
year there.
And so our models try to match the signals that are seen on those deep ocean gauges, and if we can match them, then we know we've created the right kind of wave. And so, of course, in the beginning, we only have a reading on one gauge, and later on it's 2, 3, 4 gauges. And so we keep iterating with these models. But even from the get-go, from the very beginning, the forecast was pretty consistent, even with more of this data telling us that, yeah, Hawaii had this threat. And for the coastline in Hawaii, there's another part of this model that actually brings the synthetic wave up onto the coast in a few, maybe about a dozen places around our state. And so some of those models did say that we would have roughly 10 feet above normal sea level. So that's what we've been going on, and it's been pretty consistent.
Well, the tide it's high tide, so.
I guess I can take your advice on when you'd like an update. I think I should probably come down maybe in another half an hour or so, because we should have more readings from across the state, and then I can give you another update.
What sort of conversations will we?
It looks like it's going to probably be okay-ish.
Well, mostly we will just trying to see if the readings we're getting are.
It really. Well, they said the first wave already hit, that it was about a foot or something like that. They consider that a tsunami. That's what I'm thinking.
That may have been a little bit of the water receding, not a ton, but there is a sign that something was happening, and that there were some people in the Honolulu area who were saying that the water had receded enough where the reef was exposed. We were seeing some things on the camera. We weren't particularly sure what it was, but now looking at it, it might have been the reef getting exposed there, and then the water is now coming back in. But we do have just an indication that some kind of tsunami wave may have occurred or may have arrived in Honolulu. It's not just, it's not that big. It's just not huge. But then again, remember, even if you don't have the size and height on the surface, this energy goes all the way down to the bottom of the ocean, wherever it may be, and is still capable of causing currents. And we're seeing a bit of that right now because it's a little bit flatter close to the shore, and then you can see those tendrils of currents that are heading out those areas of flatter water that kind of snake out
feeling
into
great about this
further
now.
distance there. So it might not be huge, it might not be something that looks extremely destructive, but just from looking at the ocean and the way the ocean looks, there is something happening out there right now. But
Howie, I don't see
as the
anything.
Chip McCreary from Pacific Tsunami Warning Center said, this could still be several hours. As we've been saying this evening, it's just the first wave. It's not going to be the whole, it's not going to be one and done. It's going to be an event where we're going to have waves coming in maybe every 20, 30 minutes, possibly for the next several hours.
And it does appear that, from when we first started taking this cam at 7:10, about a half an hour ago, that you can see more movement in this camera. And when you were speaking of an event like this, when you're seeing any types of movement in the current, that
the currents in the water right now. Actually, if you look at the water and look at the sunlight, you can actually see the water pushing in towards the coastline right now. So the reflective water, you can kind of see that current pushing in ever so slightly. Again, we are watching for multiple waves here, and off in the distance, the sun is setting, and it even seems like we have one person out there.
Yeah, that's what I was
foiling.
going to say. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
It looks like one person paddling in the water right now on a stand-up paddleboard.
And the state officials said that they have rescue teams activated and ready to go, but in an event like this, they are not going to be putting their lives in danger and responding
There's somebody
to save
paddleboarding out
you.
there.
So
basically, you're on your own at this point.
Yeah.
So if you have not heeded the evacuations, if you are going into the water, despite the fact that you've been told not to do so, you're going to be putting first responders at risk if they choose to go out and get you. Many times, because of the possible severity of the tsunami waves that will be coming in, they might not. They might want to
Can you
keep
guys still
themselves
hear
safe.
that?
They're not going to put their lives in danger just because you did. So we are seeing someone in this cam who's out paddleboarding, but really ought not to be doing that.
Yeah, we're also getting reports now of the water receding over on Oahu's north shore as well. We're talking about Haleiwa. We're just seeing that coming in from one of our reporters out there.
You can still hear
one of the hot
them
spots that
talking.
Chip McCreary had mentioned, right? They were keeping a close eye on Honolulu right now and Haleiwa at the preliminary stages of this.
Copy, thank you.
Can you hear it still while I'm on this one?
868 10 1.
10 4.
And then push you 10 8 10 1.
Ten 1. Copy. Copy, Medic 10.
Oh, 1611.
What?
It's becoming more strong, and it is becoming a little bit more unpredictable, and that's why, like, this gentleman or wahine that's in the water
Whoever's
right
in
now.
there. Yeah.
It's
Where is
just
he?
too early to say if the waves are coming our way, and they're going to be coming in waves. We're talking about not just one big wave. We're going to have wave after wave and surges of energy. And historically speaking, because Hanalei is a place that we do have been impacted by tsunami waves. We've seen that along the north and east shores of the western end of the state, and along the north shores of Maui County, and then along Hilo, there historically have seen big significant tsunamis that have impacted them. So it does take time for all of this to build in, and like we're talking about, it's going to be a waiting game right now, and we'll have to be patient and just until we get that all clear to stay out of the water.
I'm going to bring your attention, though, just to about the middle of the screen. You can see the water, the current is moving from left to right. That is water leaving. That's what it looks like, water leaving. And you can see the waves that are rippling just behind that. Those are not incoming waves. Those are waves that are flowing over the reef and heading out. And then just in the foreground, ahead of the water that is moving from left to right on your screen, we can see more rocks that are being exposed right now.
I can see it. You
Yeah.
do see that
Yeah.
receding a little bit more now.
If we
Yeah.
had a side-by-side picture of what we were witnessing an hour before this, definitely looked very, calm with just the ripples of the waves coming into the shore. But now you can definitely see changes in the water.
Yeah, especially since I'm not familiar with Hanalei Bay, but if this were more of a daytime shot, usually what we see when we take this camera for our weathercasts, it's basically water, it's beach. But then now I'm almost wondering if that's not only reach, I'm wondering if that's sand that may be exposed
Some
there.
lava rock along.
Actually, just look where the palm trees are. You can see where the palm.
It looks like it is pulling back.
Sorry, 5-3 Central. Reiterate the floor. So I'm going to tell him,
Copy.
Probably about 100 feet.
Do we know how many buoys are in the area?
Not that many. I don't think there's any buoys there. The one that we do have, Jen's going to go take a look real quick.
I
but-
do remember while listening into that news conference from Dr. Chip McCrary, he says that they are monitoring 15 sea level gauges across the state as this event is happening to get more data, saying that it's going to be several hours before the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center may be able to lower the warning to an advisory when the waves go down. And it won't be until at least tomorrow morning when possibly that warning is canceled altogether.
And
But yes.
Steph, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it seems like the water might be rushing back in ever so slightly. You can see some waves forming, and some of the sand that was previously exposed is getting covered up. You can see those ripples right in the center of your screen. Luckily, we still have a little bit of daylight over near Hanalei Bay compared to our other tower cams. It seems like some water might be rushing in, but still a lot of sand exposed out there.
Right, all of this happening more than 40 minutes after the estimated arrival of the first waves.
Continue to extend our coverage here on Fox Weather. We still have quite a few tsunami warnings that are across literally almost every single shoreline, every coastline of Hawaii.
Everyone, yeah.
Whether it's north, south, I mean, it doesn't matter. These tsunami waves, as they come in, they can wrap around the islands. Now, the sides of the islands that are facing the north and west, those are going to hit the direct impacts. And so those will have the higher amplitude waves and therefore the greater impacts. But truly all around it are going to see the impacts of some pretty substantial waves. And you can see at one point Kauai projected at 7:10 p.m. Hawaiian time, 1:10 a.m. Eastern time, and we are well beyond that window, Ari. But that's not to say, I mean, we don't have cameras in this moment that's looking at Kauai, but Oahu, where we do have cameras, we've been showing you the North Shore Islands there, which I'm marking on your screen. That's where we're watching as things start to unfold.
And we've got Honolulu that's on the south side. I wouldn't, you know, the water's coming in from the northwest. You got to keep that in mind. You were alluding to that, Haley. So Honolulu is on the south side of Oahu. So I would imagine we would have a more kind of dramatic looking shot from a place like Pupukea, which is facing directly northwest on the northwest side of Oahu. Yeah, there's Pupukea right now. Do we have that side shot where you can kind of see the water that was receding, et cetera, or is that?
It's raining there.
Oh, so you can't see it.
That's crazy. You can't even see the rain on radar. It must be a really, it's super isolated, so that probably won't last too long. I was just checking the radar out there. It's in a radar hole, by the way. That's what I thought we were going to be talking about tonight. Severe weather up in the up in the plains and radar holes, et cetera. But here we are becoming geologists and tsunami wannabe experts. But here's the deal with this. Look, the water has already shown signs of receding in Kauai. I mean, it happened. It's literally happened. I'm seeing some time lapses being posted on X of these shorelines going back a little bit. So it's a process, right? So it wasn't like we're going to have one big wave coming in at 7:15. I do think we're still
a stream.
This vantage point, but you know, we'd have to see if there's any receding water that happened before this. There looks like there's a little bit of a debris line, not that big. So that would be above the heart. That would be like the line of little tree limbs and so forth. We're going to try and stay on this shot as long as we can, just because we can. But of course, it's going to get dark, and once that happens, we won't be able to monitor this. But the waves will start hitting places like Waikiki, a little bit better lit. We have crews that are out and about all over the islands, and that includes Kahului, Dylan and Chetta's up on Maui. Right now, it looks like things have stabilized, but once again, the difference between waves, the time difference between waves can be 20 to 30 minutes. And so what we saw just a moment ago where the water was going out and receding out of Honolulu Bay and then coming back in, maybe not that big, but if we do get another episode of receding water while there's still some daylight to play with, we might be able to see that maybe in about 10, 15 minutes or thereabouts.
Typically, how many waves do you expect in an event like this?
Hard to say.
Yeah.
Very hard to say, because again, it depends on how the earthquake basically acted, what kind of earthquake it was. And so, you know, if there was a lot of shaking, then maybe there's a lot more waves. It was just one thrust, which it normally isn't, then, well, you're kind of stuck with a bunch of waves, you know? So basically, as Dr. McCreary said, this could be a case where we could be going on well into the night, and the first wave may not be the biggest one. It could be some of the successive waves that come after it.
I mean, if you remember, Ben, the 2011 tsunami, I mean, that we weren't expected to feel the effects and see the first waves until sometime around 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
And the all clear wasn't given until hours after that. And we were still waiting to see the effects. I remember it was a long period of waiting, but the damage was significant. Even though the waves looked small, you cannot see visibly the power and the force of that rushing water.
The surge coming in.
That is what caused all of the damage to the piers, to the boats, the boaters who weren't able to leave in time.
Yeah, that's why we're talking about the boats having to leave when they can, and the Coast Guard saying evacuate, take your vessels out to open water at least 300 feet deep so that you can avoid the surge. That's basically what it is, and we have been repeating it often. It's not a surface wave. It's just basically the energy that goes all the way from the ocean surface down to the bottom. And so you're going to get strong currents, and as, again, it gets into shallower water, it's going to go go not only higher, but it's also going to get wider. And so you're going to have an area of strong currents that are going to impact. They're going to swirl around. They're going to do strange things that as they interact with the reefs and they interact with the bottom of the ocean.
I mean, just so that you could illustrate it more, Jen, I mean, if you could talk about the power of these waves. I mean, the governor said it as well. I mean, it's not
testing. How's
the
my mic?
height of it, but he may be saying it's 3 feet, but it's strong enough to move a house or a car.
And we're talking about the forward motion in all of this. And it was moving at once speeds of 500 to 550 miles per hour. And then once it reaches more shallow waters, it does slow down to speeds about 30 miles per hour. But it's that forward momentum that gets it going. And like Ben was talking about, spreading exponentially and widening as it does. And that's why this is wraparound energy. It's not like one side of the island is protected and the other side is not. This is going to be a whole statewide event as it wraps around. And then as it interacts with our topography, with our outer reef, with our inner reef, then we will see what kind of wave that it's going to be facing into the next couple of hours. So very interesting to see the dynamics of all of this come together. A lot of numerical models are put together to predict the wave speed and arrival times. And I do think they did a great job with the arrival times with this one, because we have been seeing activity since the 7 o'clock hour.
It's almost like trying to predict what a hurricane can do. We're starting to get pretty good at predicting where it's going to go, but the intensity, like how strong a hurricane is, that is still pretty much up to the hurricane and what Mother Nature decides. Same thing with the tsunami is happening here, where we have been able to.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I have no idea. It's shitty.
The waves are going to get. A couple of reasons why. Again, we
let me just mute this. Can you hear me any better? I have no idea. Okay. How weird. Anyway, okay. I am going to bounce out of here. We're going to take off. Figure out what we're doing. So I appreciate you guys being here. You guys take care. I'll talk to you soon. I don't know what the hell that is. What is that? Yeah, it's gargled when they're talking. I don't know why it does that. Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Hit that like button on the way out, and we'll be in touch. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Stay safe.